College of Business Studios here in the heart of gorgeous Louisville, Kentucky. Cards fans, incubate your inner entrepreneur with U of L's top-ranked Innovation MBA. In 12 months, gain the confidence and the connections needed to spark your entrepreneurial spirit. Learn best practices from U of L's award-winning faculty, serial entrepreneurs, venture capitalists, and national business leaders, all while you're competing for thousands of dollars in startup funding and business plan competitions. Start your journey today. The first step is visiting business.louisville.edu. We're on the air today from 2:32 until 5:30 here on 1450 AM, 96.1 FM, streaming across the planet Earth and potentially beyond. You know us better as the Big X. Mike Rutherford, Roman Kelly with you on a Tuesday edition of the show. Happy to be here for the next 3 hours, talking sports and other nonsense. Also talking with you on the Game Day Men's Health text line at 502-414-1450. Plenty to get to today. Closer to kickoff between Louisville and Miami. The importance of the game becoming, I think, more and more apparent to Louisville fans as we get a little bit closer. And a little bit of a flip of the usual roles going into a game like this based on what I'm seeing from Miami fans and what I'm seeing from Louisville fans. We'll talk more about that. We've got some basketball recruiting news, which I don't think is great. We'll discuss that and kind of a secondary conversation as far as what exactly is going on in the recruiting trail and what, if anything, we can glean from some of the news of the last 3 or 4 weeks on that front. We've got an AP poll for the women's basketball season that's upcoming. Does feature Louisville. We can talk about that. We've also got some individual awards and accolades for the ACC women's basketball season that are out there. A couple of just kind of quick hitters on the U of L sports front that we'll talk about. And like I said, plenty from you, as always, in the Game Day Men's Health text line. We'll try to right the wrongs from yesterday for all the texts that we did not get to. Roman Kelly is here, producing the absolute hell out of this show, per usual. Follow him on Twitter, at RomyBean. Roman, how are you, buddy?
Doing great, Mike. Excited to be in here. Just had a good run-in with Roman show, even though I didn't give out my supposed to give a bet out. Didn't get there in the show. Didn't get fully through the outline. But it's all good. It goes quick in that 22 minutes. But I'm feeling good. It's been a good day. Got some physical therapy tomorrow. Excited to be in there. It's been a few days. But nothing new. Just ready to convince you that there's a chance that Louisville can get the job done Friday. Ready to talk a little bit about Louisville men's basketball. Saw some stuff, some message board stuff, and a lot of good things centered around this current Louisville team. Maybe not so much so around the upcoming recruiting class, but we'll get there, Mike. We're one of those teams that we're versatile, right? Pat Kelsey and the staff are versatile. They find the Adrian Wooleys, they find the Zugrises of the world, they find the Frews of the world. They get the Javon Hadleys to come back. So, they're going to find ways to make this roster elite again next season. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to worry about getting the job done this season.
I like your positivity. Right off the bat. Right out of the gate, you're feeling good. Was producer Matt in here watching the TV? We've got J.D. Vance, Stephen Miller, Caroline Levitt, and Donald Trump in the Oval Office talking about...
T.J. Walker and Stephen Peake were in there watching that.
This is what they're watching?
Yeah.
I mean, can we just get sports on, guys? Can we just have sports on, not however this gets to this every single day? What are you going to do? I don't know what Stephen Miller's talking about. It's muted. Producer Matt, feel free to turn the TV off when you come in here. Or do. What did you guys get into? I did not have a chance to listen to Running with Roman on the way. And I was hectic again today. Our poor dog has, she's like covered in fleas. Awful.
That's no good.
Not good at all. So, she's been dealing with, she always has really bad, and so we noticed she'd been kind of raw back by her tail, where all the rawness is, and then noticed a lot more. So went out and got some Frontline for her, which is supposed to do the job in like 24 hours. It's been about 19 hours now, and she's still miserable, just barking everywhere. So we're trying to comfort her as much as possible. Lost track of time, but thankfully was able to get in here without the 30-second delay today. But poor Penny, she's struggling. And now you can't, you got to let the front line stay in the bloodstream, so you can't wash it off, so we can't give her any sort of, detergent bath or flea scrub or anything like that. Just got to hope that it works out in the next 5 hours. I'm hoping they're supposed to get hypersensitive, hyperactive at the very end before they die, and I'm hoping that's what's happening and why she's so miserable and why she's barking so much. But poor Penny's had a rough go of it this late summer, early fall. been rough, but we're doing okay. We're hanging in there. We're feeling good. Roman, how was the Monday night, buddy? What'd you get into?
Mike, I've been doing this thing where I've fallen asleep early.
You keep falling asleep early on me.
Falling asleep early, waking up, and having to rewatch all the things that I was watching when I fell asleep. But watched a little bit of Monday night. Well, I watched both Monday night football games fully and the MLB baseball game fully. But I did go to El Tarasco.
Ooh, I love El Tarasco.
Took Holly to El Tarasco, got some enchiladas, got a chimichanga. Really good. Insanely quick how they bring the food out. And it was like 9 o'clock. They close at 10, so it was like trying to bring us our check by like 9:25. It's insane. But had a good time. Get back home quick, watch the games. We watched it at the bar at El Tarasco so I could watch the games while we were eating, of course.
We had a good run when I was about your age, in my 20s, of when we would go to Louisville football games. We would always go to El Tarasco immediately after and just like keep drinking, having margaritas, and then get ready for the night out.
Get pictures of margaritas.
Pretty much. And so as we got older and it became apparent that, when you go to a game, like we're not doing anything afterward. If we win a big game, my friends would be like, Tarasco's, we're going. And then, we all knew everyone's just going home and going to sleep. But still to this day, if there's a big Louisville game, a couple of my buddies will be like, see you at Tarasco's, 15 minutes, let's go. Because that was our go-to celebratory cocktails or celebratory margs. And I miss it. I haven't been in far too long. Love Tarasco's.
That was great. Hit a big big bet last night. We hit the Dodgers money line. We parlayed it with the under to get a little bit of juice there. So that was nice. I thought my boy was going to – it's like I'm telling everybody about him. I'm telling the group chat, this is the kid I told you guys about 2 years ago. He's on TV now. He's playing for the Dodgers. He's about to relieve. This is it. And, of course, it's like the last 2 times I've done this. He's just not looking good. And they're like, this kid can't handle the moment, Roman. What are you talking about? I'm like,
My dad's kind of become like a Dodgers fan. I think because he stays up late, and the Dodgers are always on late, and they're always on TV. So he sort of has adopted them as his team. He hates that guy. Like he every time he comes in, he's like, he's gonna blow the game. This is terrible. He also is very critical of Dave Roberts' managerial status, but it's working for him. They're looking pretty good so far.
Nearly blew the game.
Should have blown the game, honestly.
Did blow the game. I got lucky.
Who was sitting for the Brewers last night? Whoever it was who struck out last, absolutely had a chance to take one on the kneecap and got out of the way. Bases loaded.
Was it Yelich or wasn't Yelich?
No.
It was the guy that just walked off against the last team that they played. What was his name? Can't think of it.
Terang.
Terang, that's right. Yeah,
Bryce Terang. He had a
pretty boy.
Yeah, trying to save that kneecap. Thinks his knees are too pretty. He had a slider. It's one of those where if it hits you, your kneecap might explode. But also, it's the NLCS. There's 2 outs. The bases are loaded. It's the bottom of the 9th. You get hit, you tie the game. You take that one for the team. I know it goes against every instinct in your brain. It goes against every natural reflex. But you got to hang in there and wear that one. He gets out of the way. Next pitch swings at a high fastball. He's gone. I would have been pissed off if I'm a Brewers fan that Terang didn't take.
If he would have tried to dodge it, but then get back in the path of it, he would have gotten out, right?
What do you mean?
I feel like I've watched a couple batters get out from
and this was clearly
it's not
thrown,
black and white.
If you're leaning into the strike zone to take one, then they're going to call you for a strike. This was thrown in the batter's box.
Yeah.
All he had to do was
he had to move his leg out of the way where he was allowed to have his leg.
If he doesn't move, it hits him, and he moved.
Was it knee? I thought it was thigh.
No, it was looking like it was going to be a knee buckle. It was going right for that back left knee. It would have hit him.
You got to take that.
Squat down a little bit.
Game's on the line.
Take it in the thigh.
How bad do you want to win?
I mean, come on.
He didn't want it bad enough, Mike.
NLCS. He's pretty boy. Not making plays. But it was a crazy game last night. The wildest double play maybe you'll ever see. With
which one?
The force out at home on the ball that was caught.
Oh, yeah.
That was not caught at the wall that everybody thought was caught at the wall. And then the guy on second, I can't remember who it was. It was Teo on third. Hernandez got thrown out at home on a force play on a ball hit off the wall because he thought it was caught, like everybody. And then whoever the guy on second was also thought it was caught, just went back and then just didn't run. And so, catcher makes the force out at home, just jogs to third, steps on the bag, double play. At that point, you're thinking, man, that may just won the game for the Brewers. Did not, because the Dodgers came back and won 2-1. But great game last night. NFL games were also certainly entertaining, Bears Commanders comes down to a last-second field goal by a kicker they just signed. Did you see the? So this is one of those moments where it was like, is this weird or am I just misremembering? So Jake Moody, who got cut by the 49ers a few weeks ago, gets signed by the Bears this week. Barely knows anybody on his team. Kicks the game winner. Kicks 4 field goals in the night. So he gets interviewed naturally on Monday Night Football. He did the full interview in his helmet, and I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, has this ever happened before? Maybe like college, high school games. But and then you're kind of doubting yourself where I'm like, does this happen more regularly than I think? And I don't pay attention to this. I just don't notice. He just did the full interview in his helmet. He looked like an 8-year-old. I was like, Jake, take the helmet off, buddy. This is your moment. Soak it up. What are you doing? But NFC North reigns supreme again. The Bills fall to the Falcons in kind of a crazy game there. I made 2 bets, cashed both those. Felt pretty good about that. And then the baseball was good. I was kind of keeping a casual eye on it because Mary and I hadn't got a chance to watch really TV together. There'd been a lot of sports going on. We've been out of town for fall break stuff. So we'd started the movie. It's on Netflix, The Woman in Cabin 10. Fellas and ladies, if you want to pass on The Woman in Cabin 10, you've got my stamp of approval to make that move. I'm giving you the green light to go ahead and say thanks, but no thanks to The Woman in Cabin 10. Not great. Not a fantastic movie. It's Keira Knightley is the star. There's a couple of other notable people in it. It's not very good. Just going ahead and letting you know. It's a thriller. It keeps you interested. It keeps you engaged a little bit. But the writing, the acting, and the overall plot are, I think that Rio Russell could have written it. That's what I'll say.
I can't believe the Packers kicker was like, I just wanted to be a substitute teacher, but I couldn't find a job.
Yeah, I don't believe that at all. Have you seen some of the news reports lately? If you want to be a substitute teacher, they'll give you a full-time job. You can go to just about any public school district in America and find a full-time teaching gig. I don't buy that one bit. But it's good for, hyping it up a little bit, getting your name out there. It's a good story. People love latching onto it. But it was an entertaining night of sports. The Mariners thumped the Blue Jays. We've got, Josh Naylor hitting home runs, Big Dumper's doing his thing despite getting hurt. Just the Mariners are looking like an unstoppable force right now. And then Dodgers-Phillies was not Dodgers-Phillies, Dodgers-Brewers was an entertaining game. And then both the NFL games last night were entertaining as well. We catch our collective breath from a sports standpoint today. Not a ton going on. There is college football tonight, which is great because I said we're in.
Expecting you to cook something up for us, Mike.
I'll cook something up. We're in week 2 of the 50 straight days of having at least one NFL or pro game every single night for over a month and a half. We got college football on our airwaves tonight. 1450 The Big X will have Florida International at Western Kentucky. Hilltoppers 3-0 in CUSA, 5-1 overall. They're a 10.5-point favorite tonight. That game also nationally televised on ESPNU at 8 o'clock. New Mexico State on the road taking on Liberty at 7 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. And then in the Fun Belt, how about this? 2-4 Arkansas State taking on 1-5 South Alabama.
This is where the money's at.
Oh, you're damn right. 7:30 ESPN2. These are the games that make you feel terrible about yourself for sitting down and watching it on a Tuesday night. But this is where you make the money. South Alabama, 1-5, 0-2 in the Sun Belt. 7.5-point home favorites tonight, Roman. 7.5.
Can't be right.
I've got a soft spot for Arkansas State. Last year, I don't remember what was going on. It was one of those meaningless bowl games, either right before Christmas or right after Christmas, and I just had nothing going on. Like, it was a gap for – you remember Louisville had that kind of – that 10-day hiatus between Christmas and then right after New Year's? And there was just nothing on TV, nothing going on. And I was like, I'm going to pick Arkansas State to win their bowl game. They're a 10.5-point underdog. I'm going to pick a money line, and I'm going to put a hefty wager because I haven't made any wagers in a long time. I'm going to justify making this bet. And I watched Arkansas State go out there and win the whatever bowl game it was and make me some solid money. So I may run it back tonight. Red Wolves on the road, giving 7.5 points or getting 7.5 points. I may make a straight up wager tonight on Arkansas State. I need to look into it a little bit more. We'll do that at some point over the next 3 hours. But you do have college football tonight. You got NBA preseason going on tonight. And then you've got NLCS Game 2, Dodgers-Brewers 8:08 first pitch on TBS tonight. Your boy Yamamoto on the hill against Freddie Peralta.
Yep. Need him to bounce back here, Mike. I don't know if I can take him 2 nights in a row, but I'm feeling the same parlay. Dodgers money line in the under because it's Peralta and Yamamoto. So
Yeah.
I feel like when good pitchers have been expected to do well in these playoffs, it's like they don't.
Freddie's a little worn down, though. Freddie's a little worn down. Didn't look quite as solid last time out. We'll hear about it. But if you want to hear Roman's full plays, keep it locked. Ticket Punchers back today, 5:30 to 6. Off yesterday because it was Dalton Pence and his Monday show. But Ticket Punchers.
So check that out, too, if you missed it.
Today.
We had Alex Dono on.
It was the Canes guy?
Yeah, the Locked On with the Canes, Locked On Canes podcast for the Miami sports. He had a lot of interesting takes there. I mean, kind of worried me a little bit more, but also said a few things that makes me, feel like we've got an opportunity.
Let's talk about this for a second because, I just last night and then a little bit today started my process of diving into the Miami fan base and their fan media and kind of what they're thinking going into this game. And we talked yesterday, and I think the text line sort of backed it up. There were a couple of texts of people who were like, I think we're going to get this done. For the most part, the fan base is down on this football team. We're 4-1. We're 1-1. Our only loss is to a nationally ranked team in overtime in a game that we kind of gave away. And still, I think the fan base is not overly confident about this team and certainly not very confident about this game on Friday night. The Miami fan base, which is notoriously brash, they're not, there's nobody out there who's like, oh, I think, Louisville's got something for us. This is going to be a bad spot for us. We're not going to win this game. They are sort of more cautious, though, which is crazy because in the 3 consecutive years that we've played them,
we should cover this kind of statements.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of like, this may actually be the best team that we've played. Because this is a thing with Miami. And maybe they're just echoing the sentiments of their head coach because Mario Cristobal yesterday, during his weekly press conference, getting ready, he was, as some coaches will do, going over the top, effusive in his praise of Jeff Brom and Louisville football. This is a team that he's now seen each of the last 2 years. We beat them by a touchdown 2 years ago. They beat us by a touchdown last year. But his exact quote about Louisville was, this is going to be the best team that we've played so far this season. They're as good as a team as we've played. If we don't, I'm trying to find the exact quote here. This is as good a team as we've played against. We have to work our butts off in preparation and go out and play our best football. We feel like they have the most proven explosive playmakers of any team that we've played, and you combine that with arguably one of the best players in all of college football, we're going to have our work cut out for us. Now, it's not an over-the-top quote, but it seems sort of silly when you think about the fact that this is a team that has beaten 3 ranked teams already this season. But you look at that schedule now, the resume's not quite shining as brightly as it was a couple of weeks ago. South Florida still looks like they could be a playoff team out of the group of 5, but they got hammered by the Canes 49-12. The shine's off of them just a little bit. Florida State, that win on the road, which got a little bit dicey late, doesn't look nearly as good now as it did then because Florida State backed that up with a loss to Pitt. They're now 0-3 in the ACC. Florida, you beat them when they were nationally ranked. They're now sitting there at 2-4, coming off of a pretty thorough beatdown at the hands of Texas A&M. The Notre Dame win still looks pretty good, and that was close. But Notre Dame, they've got the 2 losses, but they've looked very impressive since then. Destroyed Purdue, destroyed Arkansas, handled Boise State, destroyed NC State. They've looked very good. So when he's saying that Louisville's the best team that they faced so far, I don't know if I believe him. I mean, if Louisville was playing Notre Dame on a neutral field tomorrow, who would you pick, Roman? I'd probably pick Notre Dame at this point.
I'd have to.
I'm very much in do I think we could beat Notre Dame? Sure. But like I said yesterday, I'm very much now in we've played 5 games. You're going to have to show me before I believe it type mode when it comes to us beating a legit top 15, top 10, even top 20 team.
I think Notre Dame's defense has shown we would struggle.
Yeah, I mean, look, the last 3 games, they held Arkansas to 13 points, Boise to 7 points, NC State to 7 points. And against this Miami team, they held them to 27 points. I know it was the season opener, but still, their defense has looked very good, and I do worry that they would kind of be able to run the ball effectively against us, despite how good our defense has looked. So Miami is they're kind of hyping us up. Their fan base, though, they're very much doing the I'm cautiously optimistic. Yeah, if all things are equal and we go out there and we play the way that we're capable of, we should take care of business. But I think there are a lot of Miami fans who are like, I think this is going to be a close game. I think this is going to be close. Louisville's got talent. They bring up Isaac Brown. They bring up Chris Bell. They bring up how well the defense has played. They're kind of doing the whole we need to overly respect our opponent because I'm worried about just how optimistic I feel right now. And they should. They're 5-0. They've beaten 4 really good teams in 5 of those games. The other one was Bethune-Cookman. They beat 45-3. They don't seem to have a real obvious weak point. Carson Beck has played very well. Fletcher and Brown are a dynamic running tandem. They've got playmakers all over the field. The defense has been dominant. But there's that little doubt in the back of all of their minds. We always seem to give one away. And then things kind of spiral from that point, and then all of a sudden we're 9-3, and we're on the outside of the playoff looking in. Could it be possible this week? Could it happen against a Louisville team that is known for getting up for the best games on their schedule? And I think the other thing is they don't have much on their schedule after this. I read the list of the easiest power conference schedules remaining of teams that only have 1 or 0 losses. Miami's got an easier schedule remaining than we do. After they play us, their second half is at home against Stanford, at SMU, home against Syracuse and NC State, and then on the road against Virginia Tech and Pitt. If they get through this without cristoballing, I think the general sense from Miami fans is 11-1 gets us in. Even if we don't make the conference championship game, our non-con performance and the teams that we've beaten, if we just go 11-1, we're in the playoff. And I don't think there are 2 teams remaining on the schedule after Louisville that can beat us. So that's where their focus is. You're not going to catch this team riding the high of a rivalry win over Florida State or looking ahead to anybody else. They are going to be singularly focused on this game, and that's kind of a tough break for us. After 24 hours after our first discussion, because of all of this, is your confidence level higher, lower, or remaining still at this point in time, Roman?
I'm remaining still, Mike.
You're still confident?
Still confident. Not getting any higher. Not getting any lower. Confident in what Louisville does well. Not confident in the ability to prevent what we don't do well.
The other thing about this game for Miami is, and this sucks, I know I'm not exactly a ray of sunshine here, they're getting healthy. They're going to be healthier for this game than they were 2 weeks ago against Florida State. Jordan Lyle, who missed the Florida State game, he apparently is close to being ready to go. He was supposed to start at the beginning of this season and be like their dynamic running back and dynamic offensive player, and then he got hurt. He may play in this game, which makes an already dynamic offense all the more lethal.
Yeah, they got Jordan Lyle, but we got Kewan Brown.
Maybe. That's the other thing. Jeff Brom we didn't get a chance to talk about this yesterday. Jeff Brom gets asked about the health of the running backs yesterday. And he comes out and says, he doesn't say what anybody wants, which is, we're all good to go. He says, we got some guys that are nicked up, some guys that are still working through some stuff. Hopefully we'll have Isaac and Kewan ready to go by the time we get to the game time. No mention of Duke Watson whatsoever. Maybe that means he's 100% healthy. The more likely interpretation is it means he's definitely a little bit hurt still. It's not what anybody wanted to hear. But it's Jeff Brom. Maybe he's slow playing things. Who knows? Or maybe we're going to have Miller Moss throw the ball 75 times to win this game, which is not encouraging anybody. Even though, Roman, he's one of the 25 finalists for the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award.
He is.
He is. We'll talk more about this game after the break. We also have some basketball nuggets to talk about, including a recruiting development on the men's basketball side of things that the fan base is reacting to. We'll discuss that after the break, and then we'll start getting texts from you guys as well at 502-414-1450. It's the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical. It rolls on next here on 1450 The Big X. 3 o'clock hour here, the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus, Louisville's newest construction management company. Shout out to John Burke and our guy over there at United Mechanical, our guys over there at United Mechanical. They are Louisville's MVP for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration services. Call them any hour, any day at 502-339-1133. I just got this email, which I think is interesting. Somebody went out there and, God bless them, ranked every ACC basketball player in terms of their combined social media following across Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. 3 players who are suiting up for Louisville this season are ranked among the top 25 in the ACC. Would you care to guess as to which 3 those are?
Michael Brown Jr.
Michael Brown is 11th in the ACC.
Ryan Conwell.
No.
Adrian Woolley.
No.
Kenai Ruth?
No.
I have no idea.
So Michael Brown across, again, these 3 social media platforms has 74.6 thousand followers. That's 11th in the ACC. Kaysen Pryor
got to be Kaysen.
is 17th with 36.2 thousand followers across the 3 platforms. And then Isaac McNeely checks in at number 22 with 30.3 thousand followers across those platforms. There's a runaway number 1. And it's probably, I don't think you'll be able to guess who it is.
A runaway number 1.
A runaway number 1. This young man has 1.72 million followers. Nobody else has more than 297,000. So Isaiah Evans is second for Duke with 297.5 thousand followers. He is being trumped by Kion Anthony, the son of Carmelo Anthony,
for Syracuse,
who is going to Syracuse this season.
Duh.
It's legacy. I would have guessed it was one of the Boozer kids, the good ones, Cameron. I would have guessed it was Cameron Boozer. He's number 5. Boobie Miller, by the way, is number 3. I don't know if that's just because his name is Boobie, but props to him. But Kion Anthony, far and away, has the biggest social media following of any player who's going to suit up in the ACC this season. 1.72 million followers across all platforms. Kind of crazy.
That is crazy.
We'll see. The big story in the world of basketball today is, it's not a good one. It's not unexpected at this point. Colvin Landrew, the player that Louisville has spent a ton of time recruiting the last handful of months, they've ramped it up in recent weeks. Looked very promising for U of L on this front just a couple of weeks ago. And then his visit to UConn apparently went better than expected, which sucks. He's going to be making his college decision tomorrow at 2:30. Great, right when the show starts. Perfect. On CBS Sports Network. All indications at this point towards a Connecticut commitment, which sucks. I said it I guess last week when it looked like things were maybe starting to point in this direction, that there would be no pivot. There's no, we backed off of him. It was a money thing. Some weird guy got involved at the last second. We don't get along with his agent. We felt like it wasn't a good culture fit. The staff loved everything about Colvin Landrew. They still love everything about Colvin Landrew. They very much wanted Colvin Landrew to be a part of this program, whether it was for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 17 years, however long. This is going to be one of those where you just got outdone by Connecticut. Their pitch just beat yours. And, Roman, I think you and I both kind of talked about it yesterday. It's a pretty effective pitch at this point in time.
Not very many, unless you're a top prospect in the Nike realm that wants to take that next face of Nike kind of route. Connecticut's probably got the best pitch.
Yeah, I mean, not only can they say we've won 2 of the last 3 national championships, we're preseason top 5 this year, we're going to bounce back from a down year, but Hurley now has the ability to point to specific freshmen and say, we don't just take anybody. We could get the cream of the crop when it comes to the rankings. There are guys in the top 5 that we're not even touching. If they wanted to point it out, they can say Tyron Stokes, we're not recruiting him. We're not interested. But we want you to come here and play. We're taking a select couple of freshmen from each class. We're featuring them on a really good team, and then we've got great results so far when it comes to sending those guys to the NBA. 3 years ago, Donovan Clingan's a backup. He's the only freshman who's seeing the floor past the Sweet 16. We won a national title with him. He goes to the NBA. He's doing pretty well. Stephon Castle wasn't the highest-ranked kid in the world, wasn't the most featured player on our team, but started for a national championship team. People are saying it's maybe the best college basketball team of the last 20 years. And he goes to the lottery, rookie of the year in the NBA. This could be you. Like we see that type of future for you. And if you can make all things equal financially when it comes to the NIL point of all this, that's an effective sales pitch. It's the one thing that Pat Kelsey can't do right now. Kelsey can say, look how quickly we've turned this around. Look at how high people are on my second team. Look at the city of Louisville. They adore you. You're a superstar everywhere you go in that city. Nobody cares about basketball the way that Louisville fans do. What he can't do is say, look at these freshmen that I've taken. Look at how I've helped them win a national title and then go to the NBA.
Clingan, Castle, McNeely, 2 chips.
Yeah.
You can't beat that.
That's, and that's something that he's hoping to change this year. He's hoping that Michael Brown can be the guy that he points to and says, look, man, incredible 1 year in college. Now he's shining in the NBA. We made him a top 5 pick. We want you to be that next guy. And I think that was the pitch with Tay Kinney. It's the pitch with some of the other point guards they were recruiting. But at this point in time, that alone's not enough for some of these kids out there. And with Colbin Landrew, it came down to Louisville or UConn, and it sounds like their pitch was just more effective than ours, and he's going to go play for Danny Hurley and the Huskies next season, which sucks. So, as tends to be the case in situations like this, where you looked like you were in a good spot with Tay Kinney, you didn't get Tay Kinney. You looked at one point in time like you were in a good spot with Tyron Stokes. You're not going to get Tyron Stokes. It looked like you were in a really good spot with Colbin Landrew just a couple of weeks ago, and now you're not going to get Colbin Landrew. The fans are asking questions. What's going on here? Is this a financial deal? Is the pitch just not hitting for whatever reason? I guess the question that I'll pose to you, how concerned are we about this? I know we're all excited about the season that's upcoming, and this has no effect on that. But if we're looking at the future and our ability to hopefully continue on with whatever success we have over the 6 months ahead of us, how concerned are we that we're not out there getting recruits right now when we're obviously efforting to get these types of players?
I'm not too worried, Mike. I feel like they're going to come. I feel like it's hard to have basically everything in your pitch come from 1 year of progress. It's still an extremely small sample size. I think, Kanai Roos, what was he, the 38th ranked kid in his class?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Adrian Woolley in the transfer portal. Where was his ranking? Like, if there was a ranking just on age, right? The U22. Woolley would be pretty high in college basketball as well.
Sure.
I think that it just takes time still when you have such a short sample size in your package, in your deal. You probably also have some set guidelines that you and Josh have established that unless it's this esque level player, we're not really willing to shell out this kind of money. But between those two things, Mike, it takes time. You're going to have to kind of expand what you're willing to shell out a little bit more because it's a wavering market year after year. You're also going to have to continue to add to what your sample size is in your pitch. Like, hey, we actually didn't do anything with the freshman last year. The one freshman we got averaged how many points, and he's coming back this year. That's not compared to McNeely, Castle, Clingan, 2 chips. It's hard. It's tough. You don't have the other schools that are putting guys in the NBA. Proctor, Connor Knueppel, right? Like all these other schools, if they're not achieving, they're still putting guys in the NBA. Still, we clearly know that these guys want what's going to get my name highlighted because of the team success, who's going to give me money, and am I also going to get to the NBA as fast as I plan to? Do we check all of those boxes right now for a lot of these guys in that esque of range? Not really right now. And you can't – it takes time. I'm not going to be mad that our current status isn't as appealing to these kids just after 1 year compared to some of these other schools right now who feel like we've got just as much of a chance with this current roster and what we've done in the transfer portal and the resources we do have, right? It's tough. It's like, well, how are we the best team in the transfer portal, but feels like we can't get the high school recruits? It's a give and take, Mike. So I'm going to just trust that Pat Kelsey and his staff have their way of going about getting guys that they're going to be able to get the guys that they think can play at this level the right way. And so far they haven't been able to – they haven't shown that they're failing at that in any way. So I'm not going to worry too hard on non-top 5 freshmen.
I'm not either. I've said this several times. It's tough for me to get all wrapped up in freshman recruiting, whether it's good news, bad news, or somewhere in between, when there's an effective pivot out there now. If you whiff on an entire recruiting class and you've got the money, you can go out there and make up for it in the transfer portal now. There used to be no pivot. If you whiffed on a recruiting class, you were done for a couple of years. The other thing right now is that it's historically it's late in the game for recruiting the current class. We've mentioned this a handful of times. There was a story on it from CBS a month ago. There are more uncommitted prospects at the top of this 2026 class this late in the game than we've ever seen in recruiting in the modern era. So you've got the ability to go out there and still get involved with some of these players that maybe you weren't prioritizing before the Landrew news or before the Kenny news or before the Tyron Stokes news. I mean, we've got Jackson Richardson is a 4-star small forward, same size as Landrew. He's higher ranked than Landrew. He's coming on an official visit, I think, next week, 2 weeks from now? You've got a couple of other players in this class that are set to visit Louisville. You can make people forget about these swings and misses with the 2026 recruiting class, and then especially if you're able to add on to that with a really highly touted portal class. And then it also, who you get to come back from this year's team is also going to play a large part in how the fan base feels about next year's roster. It's frustrating.
I don't think Jace Richardson was on a lot of draft boards before the start of last season, and he went first round. His older brother.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of guys out there that I think Louisville has had some interest in, and now they can make a more of a concerted effort to go out there and get. We'll see where they focus their efforts moving forward, but it is frustrating to know that the staff very clearly wanted traditional recruiting to be a big part of the way that they're assembling rosters moving forward. And knowing that they focused their attention pretty significantly on 2 guys in this class, and Kenny and Landrew, and weren't able to get either. But that happens in recruiting. Nobody is batting 100 when it comes to recruiting, and sometimes you just take L's, and we've taken a couple on the trail. And it doesn't mean that we can't field a competitive roster next season. I think we absolutely still are in the mix for a number of players. And then the portal is the kind of the great equalizer now. So, not trying to paint anything pretty. It sucks that we're not going to get Colbin Landrew, but I'm not out here acting like it's indicative of Pat Kelsey's inability to be a big boy coach at this level or anything like that. I think it's just a good player that we would have loved to have had who's not going to be here. That Jax Richardson visit, by the way, is going to be November 8th. He's got a visit scheduled this weekend at Creighton. He'll go to Ole Miss on November 1st, and then he'll come here on November 8th. So
a lot of kids in that 50 and up not committed yet.
A lot of kids in the 1 to 50 still. I mean, you look at the top 20 players in this class. You've got number 1, looks like he's going to go to UK, but he's not committed. Jordan Smith, the number 2, looks like he's going to go to Duke, but he's not committed. There's only 1 player in the top 10 who's committed, and then only 3 players who are ranked between 11 and 25 that are committed. So you've got 20 of the top 25 players in this class that have not committed anywhere. And then, like you said, you get down there in the 40 to 90 range, there's a ton of players that are still available. So if there's a kid that maybe you were like, I don't know if we're going to have a spot for him.
Go get Taj Ariza's kid. I mean, Trevor Ariza's kid, Taj Ariza. 6'9", 195.
Okay.
He's nice.
Where's he ranked? 15th, 14th?
24th.
He's going to Oregon.
Didn't say he's committed.
He's going to Oregon. He's committed. He's out. He's off the board. He committed on October 3rd.
Oh, this isn't updated yet.
Get a better site.
ESPN.
Well, there's your problem. Go to 24/7 Sports. They've got the recruiting rankings updated. I'm not overly concerned about this. I don't love it, obviously, but I'm not freaking out. If it were 10 years ago, I'd be freaking out. But we can go out there and get portal guys. We can bring guys back from this year's team. We'll be good to go.
I want to go find the Adrian Woolleys of the world every year, Mike.
Speaking of Adrian Woolley, he's rocking the gold jersey this week.
Saw that.
You see that? I love some of the chatter that's surrounding Adrian Woolley now. There was a good story on, I think Jody Demling penned it, kind of talking about Pat Kelsey's comments about Woolley and about the way Javon Hadley and Isaac McNeely were talking about him. And Kelsey got asked straight up about, like, what's he bringing to the table? He was ranked as a top 10 transfer by 24/7 Sports, but he's a younger guy. He's coming from the CUSA level. He's still a little bit of a mystery. And Kelsey said, I love AW. The first word that I use about him and Javon Hadley, I say this about him all the time, but AW is a dog. He's got grit, toughness, and competitiveness. I love that about him. He also said, if we're talking more about his skill set, he's a very gifted scorer. He can score at all three levels. He can score at the rim. He can get to the line and hit his free throws, and he can shoot it from distance. He's a good playmaker. He's a very good all-around player and has an unbelievable temperament. He's been a leader for us. He's not that vocal. He's probably one of the least vocal guys on our team, but just the way he goes about his process and that same dog mentality is his grit defensively. He loved to pick up and turn guys in the backcourt. He's just a tough dude. I love AW. Now, Jody also, he quotes an anonymous NBA scout who watched the team practice earlier this month, who said that Woolley was, quote, the best player on the team. What do we make of that?
That's amazing.
I love it.
Saw another thing about an NBA scout, seeing something about him too. That the fact that there's people, unbiased to Louisville that are getting to watch him and saying that kind of stuff, Mike. I think he's going to shock everybody. I let you know. I think he's going to be the leading scorer come the end of the season.
It was my original pick. I backed down. I went with Conwell when we had this conversation like a week ago. It may end up being Woolley. I think he's the biggest. He and Frew are the biggest X factors on this team. The two guys that I think can take us from really good to great if they're as good as we all hope they are. I mean, my guy Ricky O'Donnell covers the NBA draft for a living, more of an NBA guy, does a little bit of college basketball. In his latest mock draft, he's got Woolley going in the first round. If Adrian Woolley, we all assume that Michael Brown's going to be a lottery guy, even if he has an uneven freshman season here. If Michael and Woolley are both first-round draft picks, it doesn't guarantee anything. But you add in the like elite college level players that probably don't have NBA talent, but we all expect to have really good good college seasons this year. I will have assumed that we have done something pretty special if both those guys are first-round draft picks. Because you assume that Ryan Conwell is going to be really good at doing what he does well. Same with Isaac McNeely. And then it all becomes an issue at the front court. It's nice to have Javon Hadley back. You feel like he's rock solid. And you got to feel like some combination of your bigs is going to be good enough if the guards and the wings are as elite as they would be in this hypothetical to get us to where we want to go this season. It's exciting to think about.
The fact that we're going to be able to move the ball and get whatever kind of shot we want, Mike.
Yeah.
Like last year, I felt like there was just certain lineups, certain moments. If the momentum was going this way and we've got this lineup out there, there's only 2 or 3 shot attempts that we were looking for.
Ball was going to stick somewhere.
Ball was sticking. Terrence is creating something. Chucky's creating the lob for James Scott, or we're going to find Rain in a set somehow. That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
Then with the rare game, we're getting bailed out by Javon because he's got the mismatch. We were able to exploit certain things just because of our game planning, but not a lot of versatility on the offensive end last year for us once the injury started. God forbid injuries this year, granted, but we're going to be able to do whatever we want out there if we really have this much skill in our ball handlers, Mike. Adrian Woolley in all the clips, I get it's practice. He gets to the rim, it seems like anytime he wants to when there's a camera on him. Michael Brown's going to be electric. If you give him a first step, I was just talking about this with Presley Meyer and the starting 502 guys earlier today, because Presley Meyer actually asked the group chat an interesting question. Would you take who are you taking right this second? Senior Chucky Hepburn or Michael Brown? I said, no question. Michael Brown is just a different level offensively. If you give him a half step of space as you're guarding him, he's going to dunk on you, right? If you try to sag off and prevent that, the jumper's too quick. He gets up into his release way too fast, and he creates separation with his step back. He's just a different level offensively. And teams, you're not going to be able to game plan for us. Whatever you try to game plan and stop, we're going to be able to do the opposite with the skill we've got out there. That's just super, super exciting.
One of the issues that Michael has had against quality competition in his prep career has been finishing at the rim. Hopefully the extra inches, he's grown like 6 inches since we signed him. And
a little bit of weight on.
Put a little bit of weight on. Hopefully he can finish a little bit better around the rim. And then defense has been sometimes bad in some of these international competitions. But he does do things that are unteachable. He is, I think, going to be the most gifted freshman point guard passer that we've seen in college basketball in some time. It's just like a natural innate ability. You watch him play and you just understand that he does things that most people can't do already.
Trae Young level.
Yeah, I mean his left-handed passing is outrageously good. And then you surround him with shooters, you've got a wealth of options. I do think though Wooly's ability to get to the basket and finish effectively is what's going to set him apart a little bit from the other guys. I think Conwell can do it a little bit, but that's not going to be his bread and butter. I think Michael can do it a little bit, but I don't think that's going to be his bread and butter. Maybe I end up being wrong about that. It's certainly not going to be Isaac McNeely's bread and butter. You've got to have that guy that can pump, fake, and drive and keep the defenses honest. It's going to be Wooly. Like, that's going to be his game when he's out there. And I'm fascinated when it comes to how Kelsey chooses to mix and match the lineups. Like, who do you put Adrian Wooly out there with? Who's the best complement to what he does well? Do you make sure that one of McNeely or Conwell are on the floor with him at all times? Because then you've got two electric outside shooters, but one that can kill you off the bounce.
Now he can operate in all this space. Yeah.
Exactly. Like I feel like you kind of have to. Or do you say, we want to go offense-defense lineup? Kobe Rogers is our other best defensive guard. We're going to put him out there with Wooly. We're going to have Frew out there with that lineup. We're going to be dogs. We're going to play more of a half-court style when those guys are on the floor. I don't know.
Yep, I like it.
I'm very curious to what the staff is thinking right now, or if they're just kind of going to go out there and use the exhibition games and maybe the first couple of games of the regular season to mix and match and experiment a little bit, because you have a wealth of options. You almost have too many options. It can, for a guy like Pat Kelsey, that I think wakes up in the middle of the night thinking about sets and thinking about what the best way to utilize what he's got, this may drive him crazy, because you can do so many different things with the 12 scholarship players that we've got on this year's team.
Constantly wondering if you haven't found the right thing yet.
Yeah. Shifting gears real quickly to the women's basketball side of things, the U of L women, the AP poll came out today. The U of L women are number 20 in the first AP poll of this season. I think it's a little bit some people were surprised by the men being only 11th. The women have also consistently this summer and early fall been ranked higher in the ESPN and the Athletic and then the whoever's covering the sport nationally when they've done their rankings than they are in this poll. So, I'm a little bit surprised, but I don't think Jeff really cares all that much about preseason rankings. 20's fine. We're going to be good to go. We'll have a tough non-conference schedule yet again that will let us improve our ranking if we are able to go out there and earn it. One of the games that we're going to play early this season, though, is against Connecticut. November 4th, it's the season opener at Ramstein Air Base in Germany. And UConn is going to open the season as the number 1 team in America, the reigning national champs. So this is a big spotlight opportunity for the U of L women, number 20 versus number 1 in Germany, national TV audience, except there's now concern with the government shutdown happening that this game may not happen. Jeff Walz today during the U of L women's tip-off luncheon said, our first game, as you know, is hopefully going to be on an air base. If we open back up, we're closed right now, our country is, and that makes it impossible for us to travel. There's a conference call that's scheduled soon between UConn and Louisville and the organizers of this game to discuss a contingency plan if the game can't be played on the military base. One option is moving the game to Louisville on the same date, which would be great for us, but kind of sucks for the team, which had planned this big trip to Germany. But as of right now, the game will not be played in Germany, and they're going to have to figure out where they are going to play it. If we can just keep the shutdown going for a couple weeks, Roman, we may have a home game against the number 1 team in the country.
That would be nice. That could help us out.
I've changed my mind about the government shutdown. Government shutdowns are good. Who needs mail anyway? Who needs the House and the Senate actually doing their jobs? Who needs our elected national representatives doing what they're paid so well to do? Let's keep this thing shut down until November 5th, and then let's open back up and let's start running the country again. But until then, let's make sure that UConn has to come and play a road game against us in front of a sellout home crowd that gives us an opportunity to start our season against the number 1 team in the country. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. In case you're wondering, after that game against Connecticut, Louisville will have back-to-back home games against Northern Kentucky and Colorado. Then they'll open conference play, actually, on the road against Clemson. That's going to be a November 16th tip-off. All 4 of their first games are going to be nationally televised, either on the ACC network or one of the ESPN networks. So let's keep this thing shut down. That's my whole point. That's all I want to say. We also have some individual accolades. We can talk about that after the break, but we will turn things over to you guys once we come back from break. To you all on the Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450 is the number. Whatever's on your mind today, feel free to let it out. If you got thoughts on Miami, if you got thoughts on basketball recruiting, if you got thoughts on nonsense, we'll hear them after the break. Keep it locked right here on the Big X.
Nobody out there, it's hard to believe that I'm all alone. At least I have her love, the city she loves me. Lonely.
Hour number 2 of the Mike Rutherford Show, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Your chance to weigh in. It's now on the Game Day Men's Health text line. 502-414-1450 is the number. And a reminder, Game Day Men's Health, they are redefining men's wellness with no shortcuts, just results. Testosterone, peptides, weight loss, sexual performance therapy. They got it all for you at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Visit the website and find out how they're defining a new era in men's health. Let's get to it. Text Groove, how we feeling? Let's go. Texas Mike, where are the basketball posters? Roman's going to make some calls. He's going to hit up his friend Jack Kroger. He knows him. He knows the whole family. And he's going to figure out exactly what's taking so long.
We'll get him out to you guys here soon.
He's going to make plays. He's going to make it happen. Texture says, Mike, what's the best free site to get in-depth college basketball statistics? I don't think there's a free one.
I had a good one last year. I'll have to go try to search for it.
I mean,
actually, it wasn't good, but
Stat Sheet used to be really good. I haven't used it in a ton because I do the pay sites now. Nice little tax write-off. You can use those. I mean, just, open up like a blogger account, buy those sites, and then claim that you're using it for work. You're a blogger. Everything's a write-off. That's the way the taxes work. They want you to write it off. It's like $9.99 a month. You'll be okay. Says, hey, Mike, Riddler here. Let's see what the Riddler's mad about today. I feel like I need to make my position from yesterday's text clear. I'm not redirecting my angst to Adidas. I lay the fault of the bad Adidas deal solely at Josh Hurd's feet if he can't navigate a better solution to get consistent talent. I have clearly laid out Josh's marching orders from the Riddler. First, get me the vacated records along with the NCAA's head on a metaphorical legal spike. Then make the switch to the swoosh. And then finally champion the conference realignment waters to not settle for the Big 12 or a blown-up ACC where we take an objective step back from what we have now, such as prompting the ACC to be aggressive and kicking bad performers out and replacing them with good teams elsewhere. I'm even open to helping consultant decision-making. Josh, I know you listen. Hit up Mike. He has my number. Call me anytime, day or night. I don't think I have the I guess I do have the Riddler's number on the text group. I don't think he's asking too much, Josh. While you're at it, I want you to guarantee that the NCAA tournament's not going to expand. I also would like you to
get Michigan's title banned.
$75 million to spread around for our players in NIL across all athletic programs. I don't think that's too much. 20 and a half plus a little 55. Do some fundraising. Tom Jurich would have had like 500 million. Do you know that? Step it up, Josh. Let's go.
Get Mesky on the show while you're at it.
Tell Mesky to stop ducking the show. I need to text Mesky. I feel bad now that Mesky was like, I've been willing to come on this entire time. I just don't check my DMs on Twitter. Stop ducking the show, Mesky. I'm not going to have Mesky on now. We're on a big winning streak. I don't want to. Well, if I have him on and we lose to SMU or Pitt this weekend, I'm going to feel personally responsible. I don't think we can have him on at this point until we lose. And I don't want us to lose.
Then you're getting him on after a loss.
What if we get to the Final Four and Mesky's like, I want to come on the show to promote the Final Four, and I'm like, no, we can't do this.
Leave him on red.
Go on I just respond like a thumbs up and just no information after, like just thumbs up emoji, and then just no information. Texas says, assuming that we don't get Landrew, this feels like a pretty terrible recruiting cycle for Kelsey. I'm not worried because there are a million ways to build a roster year to year. But clearly Kelsey and the staff tried extremely hard to land multiple 5 stars and high 4 stars and are seemingly going to miss completely. That's not good for future cycles, in my opinion. I hope next year we lock in on maybe 1 or 2 elite guys and just focus on people outside the top 60 that can be developed and then grab stars out of the portal. How much time and money was wasted on Kenny Stokes, Landrew, etc.? Also, it feels like Adidas is going to end up working against us more often than not. I mean, I don't have the answers to all these concerns.
The interesting thing about the class is there's a lot of kids that don't have a school yet.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I don't think we spend a ton of money on Tyron Stokes. I think we spent a lot of energy on Kenny and Landrew, for sure. But if we went out there and got a class, let's say we get Jax Richardson, who's ranked higher than Coleman Landrew in the composite rankings from 24/7 Sports, top 25 kid. We get him, and then you get like another top 50-ish player that you feel like fits what we want to do and that you can develop over the course of 2 or 3 seasons. I'm kind of okay with that. And you're able to bring back a decent chunk of this year's team and then add 4 or 5 more elite guys from the portal. I feel like you're good to go next season. Now, the big question is going to be, we're going to lose a decent amount of guys from this year's team. I don't think we can. I mean, Javon Hadley, maybe he's got 4 more years left. I assume he's gone after this. Cason Pryor's got another year. He could play college basketball at 26 if he wanted to in 26, 27. I don't know if he wants to. We'll see. Conwell and McNeely are gone after this year. You assume Michael Brown is gone. If Woolley has an incredible year, he could be gone. You're going to lose who else? Frew has another year after this, I'm told. Zugris and Kamara have more eligibility. Khalifa's gone. Kobe Rogers, I believe, is gone. So you got a lot of spots to fill. And I think they were hoping to sprinkle in a decent amount of recruit. Like, I think they wanted like a 4 to 5 player recruiting class so they could have 2 guys that were featured heavily and then maybe 3 that they could play spot duty and then bring them back for sophomores and junior seasons. Whether or not that happens now, I don't know. But I still think you can go out there and get a couple of players from this class. If you bring back a couple of the best contributors from this year's team and combine that with a good portal class, you can still be right where you will, right back in the top 15, top 10 at this point in 12 months. And I think the other thing is, if we're talking about recruiting the 27 class, if we go out there and have a season where we're constantly in the national spotlight, we're constantly ranked in the top 10, and we go out there and we advance at least to the second weekend, maybe make a Final Four, that should help with recruiting a ton. That can answer all the questions that people have about, hey, I want to win in my 1 year in high school. Can we win a national title playing your style, playing at Louisville under your direction? You go out there, you go to a Final Four in year 2. You go to an Elite 8 in year 2. That speaks volumes. You maybe have a little bit less trouble convincing those 5-star, the one-and-done type talents in the 27 class that Louisville's the place for you. Winning helps everything. It helps recruiting, certainly, even in these strange days. Texture says, I was out of town last week, so I'm catching up on the pods. Just want to bring it back to the surface and let it marinate that Roman said if we beat Miami, he will kind of feel bad for the ACC. Get this man an ACC shirt for the game on Friday. Also, Mike's voice as the football PA announcer is 100% Vince McMahon. Yeah, it was me, Austin. It was me all along. Will you really feel bad for the ACC if we win?
No.
I won't feel bad for anybody.
It's a bad look.
Yeah.
For the ACC, unfortunately. It shouldn't be. Our offensive line, is a big culprit of that. But if you don't think we're going to the playoff, technically it's a bad look for the ACC.
I'm back to not caring about the ACC. My conference fandom lasted 5 weeks. I don't give a damn how the rest of the ACC fares because they fared so bad so far. I mean, okay, I think it's impossible, though, to really play out narratives this early in the season. It could wind up being a good thing. Let's say we beat Miami and they finish 11-1. They're still going to the playoff. They beat Notre Dame. They beat USF, who it looks like is potentially going to be the G5 representative in the playoff. They beat Florida handily. They've got a good enough resume where if they go 11-1 but got left out of the conference championship game, they're still going to the playoff. If Georgia Tech and Virginia go 8-0, I don't know if they play each other this year, and they play for this may be the best route that the ACC has to make sure that they get multiple teams into the playoff. And then if all things go according to plan, maybe you can sneak 3 in there somehow if Miami doesn't play in your conference championship game. So maybe we're doing the ACC a favor, is all I'm saying. By the way, it's a sneaky big week in the ACC.
It is.
You've got us playing Miami, which is clearly a big game, and then Duke and GT are the only 2 3-0 teams in the conference. They're playing each other at noon in Durham. SMU, Clemson. If SMU is a legit contender, this is maybe their biggest spot. Clemson's a 9.5-point favorite in that game. Virginia's playing Washington State, so that doesn't really matter. And then a resurgent Pitt team's on the road taking on Syracuse, looking to prove that they're for real. It's a pretty big week. But what I'm saying is, this league still has full chaos potential. If we beat Miami, it doesn't make things crystal clear for the conference. It's not like, and now, this is going. We could end up with 7 teams that have 6-2 records when all said and done, and the craziest tiebreaker of all time. You just don't know. The chaos is out there. I hope we're some of the initiators of chaos starting on Friday. Texter says, PRTG here. What's up, podcast? Random Thoughts guy. What's the breaking 80 of mini golf? Is it 40? I think it depends on the course. Some mini golf, not all mini courses, golf courses are created equal. Some, every hole's par 2. Some, you got some par 3, some par 4s out there. But by and large, I would say breaking 40 is the equivalent, yeah. I was honestly more upset that the rules guy said Kelsey caught it than most of the other stuff that happened. I agree. It was the quintessential what the hell's going on here. Mike falls for the fake DePaul tweet like Barry Weiss falls for the fake news. Is Mike more qualified to run CBS? I thought it was a real tweet. I thought he was being serious. I should have known better. I mean, he's making fun of all the fake scrimmage reports that are out there. By the way, did you see Boston College played UConn yesterday in an actual exhibition game?
No.
We had actual basketball.
How did it go?
UConn won by like 17. Didn't play its 2 best players. So it's going to be another magical season for Earl Grant and company up there in Chestnut Hill. BC is going to be bad. They're going to be bad.
Who was their best player? Donald Hand Jr.?
He's gone now.
Where'd he go?
Didn't he go to Virginia?
Can't remember.
I believe he's at Virginia now, where his dad played. BC is, like just not a good team. They're going to be. It's between them and Florida State. No, Donald Hand stayed at Boston College.
I thought he did. And it was like big news.
Yeah, I don't know why he would, but kind of a crazy thing with the Ken Palm rankings that we didn't get a chance to get to yesterday when we were talking about them. So there's a lot of chatter out there about how NIL has actually strengthened the power grip that the power conference programs have on the sport. And, it's largely the product of there being so few upsets in last year's NCAA tournament, and people saying that this is going to be the norm. And anytime a mid-major team has some good players, they're all going to transfer up. So all of the teams from the Power 5 conferences are ranked in the top 96 on Ken Palm. There's nobody outside the top 100, which is, I think, yet another sign that the power is more consolidated in this sport than ever before. Roman, do you know who the lowest ranked power conference team out of all the Power 5s is at number 96?
Eastern Michigan?
Well, that's not a power conference team. The lowest power conference team.
Oh. I don't.
Your Florida State Seminoles
really
are number 96, according to Ken Palm. They will be the worst power conference team in college basketball.
That can't be right.
And yet still safely in the top 100. For comparison's sake, again, we finished number 290 on Ken Palm 3 years ago, which is just beyond my realm of comprehension. But DePaul's up there at 78. And if you're looking for, like, who's the lowest mid-major team, and I don't count the Mountain West or I don't count Gonzaga. I don't count A-10. The lowest, I guess we can count Memphis State. They're 52nd. But the lowest actual mid-major team on Ken Palm, again, if you're excluding St. Mary's and Gonzaga, is Grand Canyon, who now has actually joined the Mountain West this season at number 80. It's not. People thought, like, ooh, a mid-major player will take less money to be the best player on a mid-major squad than to be the 10th best player on a power conference team, and all those kids are like, nope. Like, I'll take I'll take the money and I'll ride the bench in Indiana, as opposed to having a starring role at Duquesne or UC San Diego. Give me that money, and it's become even more loaded at the top than it was before. Texter says, this is Boxcar Bob. I'm sorry, I'm not discounting the football game this week or the football team in general. But I am absolutely geeked that basketball starts in less than 3 weeks. I don't think I've been this excited about a season since Trez announced that he was coming back for the 2014-15 season. It's hard to put yourself in the mindset. So much has happened in the last 6 years. But I get the sense that we are collectively more excited for this season than we were for that 2019-20 season, which, looking back on it now, it was all about, like, we're finally back to normal. Like, all the bad days are behind us. Like, we've been through some tough times. Nobody should have. And now it's like you want to go back to your 2019 self and just strangle you and say you don't know the half of it. Brother, I got some bad news for you. Guess what? The world's about to stop. The world's about to stop in a few months, and that's not the worst thing that's going to happen to Louisville basketball in the next 5 years. Let me tell you about the guy that some of the fans wanted instead of Chris Mack, a little guy by the name of Kenny Payne. We got some stories that are coming your way. I think because of all of that, even though this team is lower in the preseason rankings than that 2019-20 squad was, I think the overall excitement level for this specific team is higher than it was 6 years ago. Is that fair?
It is fair, but it's tough because I feel like that was also the last time I was excited.
I mean, it's tough to remember exactly where we were. I'd like to go back and read some of the stuff that I was.
I mean, October.
writing.
If I think about October 2019, I thought we were going to do a lot that year. If I'm remembering correctly.
I mean, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, we were preseason top 5. We had legitimate national title aspirations, but. And there was a sense of like, oh my God, we made it through the scandal. We made it through the self-imposed postseason ban in 2016. Now it's smooth sailing for Louisville basketball. Here we go. We're back. And then, the season didn't go quite as well as we wanted it to. Still a good year. We were poised to make a run potentially with that offense. And then the world stops. And then we don't really recover from that. Chris Mack doesn't handle COVID very well. A lot of off-the-court stuff. Dino, I love you, man. Come on, Dino. Gets fired. We hire the worst coach in the history of basketball. Win 12 games in 2 years. Have another bounce-back season last year. And we're finally back to having legitimate Final Four talk next to our name. It's been, like, we've been through some stuff, man. And I think because of all of that, the collective excitement right now is even greater than it was back in 2019, even though it was sky high back then as well. Just because you appreciate things even more. The more ish you've got to go through, the more you appreciate normalcy when it finally comes back around. And we've been through more ish than we had back then. But certainly there was a ton of excitement back then as well. Texture says, just a blank text. I don't even know how you do that.
They just hit the space bar and click send.
Crazy. I did say yesterday, well, in good news, the Avs just beat the Sabres in an oddly timed afternoon game. Also, bite me Stars. And we lost to the Stars in a shootout. The Avs are still looking good. We're feeling good. Texas says, I saw Trilly's Hurley tweet. Are we cooked? If you're talking about Colvin Landrew, yes, we are cooked. Texas, Ricky Williams used to do interviews with his helmet on as well. So Ricky Williams and Moody. Ricky and Moody are the two helmet interviews. I thought Ricky used to do it just because he was like super high and super anxious. I love Ricky Williams.
I feel like I have images in my head of like Peyton Manning with the chin strap up on the side, like his helmet's not fully on, but he still has it on. Like pregame interviews. Is that a normal thing with the helmet on?
I'm literally Googling football interview helmet on. Ricky Williams kept it on. The weird kicker from Georgia, Rodrigo Blankenship, notorious for keeping his helmet on during interviews. Those are the only two guys. Like every single image is those two guys doing interviews with their helmets on. And then Josh Moody from last night. Because the big thing for NFL, for football players in general, is you want to get that helmet off because you want to have that recognizability. It's tough. They always say football players are tougher to market than baseball players or basketball players because you can't see their face during the games. So you got to make sure that you get that, that moneymaker out there in front of the camera as much as possible. So nobody wants to do the interview with the helmet on, except for Josh Moody, Ricky Williams, and Rodrigo Blankenship, apparently. Is Blankenship still in the NFL? There's no way, right?
Yes.
He is? Who's he kick for?
No, he's not.
He kicks for the St. Louis Battlehawks of the UFL. Well, now we hate him. We're rivals with Rodrigo Blankenship. He kicked for the Colts for a few years, the Cardinals for a year, the Buccaneers for a year, and now he's been with the Battlehawks for the last 2 seasons. We'll see you soon, Rodrigo. Keep that helmet on for your interviews at Lynn Family Stadium. We don't want to see your face.
Does he kick with the glasses on? He does.
Oh, yeah. Texas Mike, I don't know if you read my first text yesterday, but it doesn't matter. I just wanted to say that all this negativity talk about the fan base and the vibes is nonsense. This is a great week. Basketball is almost here, and we have an opportunity to pull off maybe the biggest win in football history. I couldn't be more excited, and who is Miami, We won there 2 years ago and could have beat them last year, and all UK fans have is praying that they're getting Stokes after they made up that he was going to commit last weekend, and he didn't. Now they're all scared, and it's hilarious and going to be even more hilarious when they don't get him. Go Cards. There is some weird stuff going on with Tyron Stokes. Have you seen any of that?
Yeah.
Have you heard any of that?
No.
So when it became apparent a couple months ago that he was going to sign the Nike deal, my understanding at the time was that it was going to be one of the West Coast schools that got it, namely Oregon or USC. And then it just kind of morphed over the last couple of weeks to, he's a Kentucky lean. He's probably going to Kentucky. And I still think Kentucky's probably the safe bet. But it sounds like there's some weird stuff happening. I stand by my whole whoever gets Tyron Stokes won't make the Final Four in 2027. It's not a guarantee. It's just something I believe wholeheartedly. Texture says, Lazard guy here. I get it, but I'm disappointed with how much loser talk is happening from the fans. The Miller hate is a little extreme. Like you talked about yesterday, he's being forced to play a style that he was never going to succeed in. If you want to hate on the O-line and the lack of a run game. I don't think we're winning this game, but we're going to be in it till the end. I agree with this. I understand that the quarterback is always the guy who's the most prone to criticism in football. That's just the way it works. He's the only player who touches the ball in every single play or thereabouts. If I'm extremely mad at an individual or a group of individuals for this season, Miller Moss is not at the top of the list. He hasn't played well, but you know what? He's played. At least he's been at practice every day. At least he's played through some stuff. At least he's out there giving he's working his ass off every time he steps on the field. He's trying.
Put his body on the line.
He's maybe not making the best decisions. Maybe he's done some stupid stuff, but you can't say his heart's not in it, and I don't think you can say the same about every player on this team this year. I'm, again, not defending the decision-making. The pick sixes have been terrible. The throw against Virginia was especially egregious, but
here's what I'm worried about.
At least he's out there practicing every day and making he's doing everything that he can to make this season as successful as possible, and that's not the case for everybody. Go ahead, Rob.
I'm worried that this game it's gotten like that last year's game written all over. The vibe of the last year games where we kind of feel like we can play up and down with the field with this team on both sides of the ball. I'm talking like Miami, SMU game last year, even Notre Dame. The vibe where we're right there with them, but the Friday night ACC bull drive is coming, Mike.
What do you mean?
We're going to be up in this game, maybe even have a lead, because this Miami defense is going to come out there thinking that we haven't had any trouble all year. We're going to be good. These Louisville guys aren't going to be able to do anything because this quarterback can't throw. And Colin Lacey, Chris Bell are going to start cutting up on them in the short passing game. They're going to start changing how they defend. Now Kejuan, Isaac are able to go get at least 3 or 4 yards, a few carries. Now the game's changed. We're up 17-17 going into the halftime. Crazy back and forth second half, not necessarily with points, but just punts, field goals. But it comes down to some crazy play at the end. It goes to the ACC facility. We hear them hectically trying to make sure everyone knows that they're on TV rather than figure out who should be getting possession of the ball. And somehow, some way, we lose out on a call and we lose this game because of it. That's not what I'm hoping happens, but I can already see it.
I love that you're getting out in front of this.
I can already see it. They're going to think Miller doesn't have it. Colin Lacey, Chris Bell, both 60 to 80 yards in the first half each. Now they're not. They're playing zone. They're trying to cover these guys. Now the run game opens up. Now we're in this game in the second half. Cooper Ranvier is keeping us in it, and the ACC is going to mess us up in the end of the game.
Swaggy Coop's ready.
We're on TV. We're on TV. Make sure Louisville doesn't win.
Reminding you guys once again, the booth is on the broadcast.
We're on TV.
I love the preemptive.
Miami's got to win this one.
We're going to get screwed by the ACC.
I can see it already.
What if they did forget and they're like, all right, how can we spin this for Miami? Jim's texting me right now. He says no catch. Jim Phillips says we got to go with no catch. There's our
Jim texted in. We're on TV.
Hang on here, guys. Hang on. Getting a Jim text. No, Jim says fumble. Jim says fumble. I like that we're already taking it there right now. We're not actually going to lose on Friday night. There's just going to be 75 missed holding calls and a terrible replay review, and that's going to cost us the win.
And we're Isaac Brown fumble on the goal line. They're going to say that it was out. Shin's going to be scraping the ground somehow, some way. It's going to be rough.
We do have kind of a defeatist mentality right now. Even you, who thinks we're going to win this game. I mean, your confidence
We're going to have the game won,
yesterday.
Mike, and it's not going to matter.
All right.
Because the ACC's got to make sure Miami gets the nod at the end of the season.
Miami fans are all. I notice this every single week. Miami fans think the ACC is actually out to get them, which is hilarious considering that the big storyline for the first month and a half of conference play last year was how they got every single call, and it was like they were the new Chiefs of college football. So yeah, we'll see what exactly happens on Friday. I mean, I don't trust the ACC refs as far as I can throw. I still don't know if it's just pointed at us or if it's just complete ineptitude. But either way, it's not good. They'll screw something up on Friday. Hopefully, they screw it up in a way that benefits us. We'll find out. By the way, latest check of the spread, 13.5 is the spread at virtually every book across the country. The Cards. If you think they're going to lose by,
It'll trickle down to 12.5 by game time.
you think they're going to lose by less than 2 touchdowns, you can make some money on U of L. I will get back to you guys in the Game Day Men's Health text line after the break, 502-414-1450. But now we pause for the calls here on 1450 and 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Roman, are you familiar with Nirvana Unplugged?
No.
Fantastic. Great listen. This is a David Bowie song, actually. But they cover it. It's terrific.
I like There's More.
The whole set, I actually do too. The whole set is wonderful.
You know how I learned about this song?
How?
The show Ozark.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of those old guys that lives right there on the river, that kind of redneck
Oh, that's right. They do sing that, yeah.
He sings that in the guitar before, like, a few episodes before he...
That's right.
You know.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about now. It's probably
he was, like, super, super slow with it. I was like, what is that?
Yeah. It's probably my favorite song from that Unplugged. We have breaking news to start the 4 o'clock hour here. Do you have the button? We have breaking news. Breaking news as we start the 4 o'clock hour. The ACC preseason men's basketball poll and the preseason All-ACC teams have been released. Roman, I'll let you guess. Where is Louisville in the ACC preseason men's basketball poll?
Number 2.
We knew it. I mean, was there ever a doubt? Louisville is number 2 in the ACC preseason poll, behind only the Duke Blue Devils. Now, it is pretty close. Duke received a total of 866 points. Louisville received 842. Duke got 34 first-place votes. Louisville got 15. Nobody else got any first-place votes. So there you go. Louisville number 2, Duke number 1, North Carolina is number 3, NC State is number 4, Virginia is number 5, and then rounding out the top 10, SMU, Clemson, Miami, Syracuse, and Notre Dame. Boston College is dead last with 107 points. Now, the All-ACC preseason teams. Are you ready for this?
I am.
Not one, but 2 Cardinals are preseason first team.
First team.
All-ACC. Michael Brown Jr. and Ryan Conwell are preseason first team All-ACC. Cameron Boozer is from Duke, is also on that team. Darian Williams, the transfer, who's now at NC State, and then Marcus Burton, the score first point guard from Notre Dame, are your first team. Second team, Isaiah Evans from Duke, Bayan Dongo from Georgia Tech, Caleb Wilson, the freshman at North Carolina, Boopy Miller from SMU, and then J.J. Starling from Syracuse. Cameron Boozer is your ACC preseason Rookie of the Year over Michael Brown.
Fair.
And then your preseason Player of the Year, I haven't seen it. I'm assuming it's going to be Darian Williams.
It is. 23 votes, with Cameron Boozer receiving 19 votes.
Marcus Burton got 2. By the way, I'm surprised. The preseason Rookie of the Year, not as surprised that Cameron Boozer wins it. I am surprised by how decisive it was. He got 43 votes. Michael Brown got 3.
Yeah.
Caleb Wilson from UNC got 2. And then I can't pronounce the kid's name from Virginia Tech that they're so excited about.
Neocolis
Avdalis received 1 first place vote. I do think he's going to be really good just based on the highlights, but I know nothing about him outside of that.
Bayan Dongo getting Player of the Year votes?
How many did he get?
1, but who's that? I want to know who that is now. I want them on the show. I've just got a few questions.
Whoever Georgia Tech's beat writer is. Donald Hand Jr., who is at Boston College, also received 1. J.J. Starling got 2.
Crazy.
Marcus Burton got 2. And like you said, Cameron Boozer. I mean, Cameron Boozer damn near won ACC preseason Player of the Year.
That's ridiculous.
Which seems a little bit strange considering how good Darian Williams was last year for a team that almost made the Final Four. But there you go. I'm surprised that we had 2 guys on the first team. I saw everyone's predictions, and a lot of them had Michael first team and Conwell second team. And I was kind of like, I bet both those guys end up second team. But both of them ended up first team. So you're telling me we have 2 first team All-ACC guys? The second best freshman in the conference, the 5th best overall player in the conference, and we're still finishing behind Duke?
Duke doesn't have 2 on the first team.
Unless Cameron Boozer's Cooper Flagg reincarnated.
Which I have something to say about that, Mike.
Okay, go for it.
There's been a lot of talk on Duke and what this roster is going to look like and how they're going to play, and are they going to get all these new parts and guys that are coming into new roles to mesh, and relying on freshmen in some important roles as well. And I don't think it's going to be clean, good basketball amongst the roster, with how they're going to have to play. I think they're going to figure a lot of things out throughout the year dealing with the freshman play that they've got. We saw they had to go through the kinks last year. I will say, though, I think Cameron Boozer's he's closer to Cooper Flagg than people think, Mike.
You think so?
I do think so. I think defensively, what he is as a presence in the interior, what he is as a scorer, and then just the all-around little things, he makes the right pass. He makes the right read. He doesn't care about screening and rolling and not getting the ball. He's going to play hard every single – I just think there's a few things about him that are going to surprise people. That
He's not quite as big as Flagg, right?
I think they're the same exact build.
Are they? For some reason, I thought Flagg was taller. Let's see here. Cooper Flagg is 6'9". Cameron Boozer is
6'9".
6'9". So they're the
I think
same.
Boozer's got 10, 20 pounds on him. Granted, Cooper Flagg's 18 years old. He's supposed to be going into his freshman year right now.
Yeah. They're about the same age.
The presence he's going to be individually on the floor, though, is going to be closer to Flagg than people think. But Duke isn't going to look how they did at the end of the season last year.
Okay.
That's kind of where I'm at with them.
My big questions about Duke aren't necessarily about Cameron Boozer. They're kind of about, they didn't go heavy on the portal. They got a couple guys in the portal, but they're banking on players that they brought back from last year going from good role players to star players. I think Isaiah Evans was really good in his role last year. I'm not sure if he's second team All ACC here. We'll find out if he's that good once we get to the actual season. Caleb Foster has been a consistent, I'm great in some games and then just kind of whatever in other games. Can he be consistently good? Patrick Mbonga has been kind of, roller coaster ride as well. Dame Sarr, I think, makes or breaks this team because there are people that have been going to practice and kind of like we talked about with Adrian Woolley. There have been NBA guys that are like, Dame Sarr is the best player on this team right now. And if he's that good,
I think defensively he's already a different breed defensively is what's going on there.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's going to have to be because you're relying on a lot of freshmen. And Duke has been really good with a lot of freshmen now, dating back to the end of the Coach K era. But a lot of those teams have ended up getting bounced in the NCAA tournament because of their defense. Wasn't the case last year. They were just, they were a unit last season, but their offense was better than their defense. And that's been a consistent theme under Shire. If they're good enough defensively, then I'll buy them as a legit Final Four threat again. But I got questions. I think they're really good, but I got questions. Now, they play Texas on opening night, and I don't think Texas is probably more of a 25 to 35 team, but that'll be a decent test to figure out exactly where they are. And they don't play anybody again until they play Kansas in the Champions Classic in the middle of November. So, but the cool thing about this year's schedule in college basketball is just about every top 25 or top 25 caliber team plays somebody really good in the first 2 weeks. There's not a lot of teams out there that are going to be 7-0, but we just know nothing about. The non-conference scheduling has been super aggressive this year, and it's going to be a whole hell of a lot of fun. November's going to be a fun month for every college basketball fan. I can't wait. We're right there. Feels good to be able to say. But we're still focused on football. Please beat Miami. I mean, I can't wait until if we beat Miami on Friday. We're spending this whole week being please we're trying not to talk about basketball, but oh my God, basketball. We beat Miami. I can't wait till next week where it's I don't care about the Kansas game. We're in the ACC race, by God. I'm focused on Boston College and homecoming under the lights. Let's go. By the way, if we beat Miami on Friday, we've got my dream scenario coming up. Last game before Halloween. It's under the lights. This is the perfect opportunity. 55,000 people in bird masks sitting there completely silent for the entire game. Nobody makes a noise. Whole game. The PA goes, the music goes. Every fan sits there in complete silence wearing those creepy-ass masks. We would win that game by 95 points. Boston College would quit. Their players would leave in the middle of the first quarter, and we'd be right there at 6-1, 3-1 in the ACC. That should happen. Make it happen. The last time we had a game like this under the lights right before Thanksgiving, they banned all masks, and they put it on an image on the official U of L account of the Card Chronicle bird mask with a big X through it. It felt very just directed at me, and then we lost to Florida State. I was pissed off about it. I drunkenly tweeted about how mad I was after the game. I was like, maybe let the fans wear masks. And if that had anything to do about it, I was just so bitter. I was just so mad that they made it a point to like put the mask with the X through it. If you let us wear the mask, we would have won the damn game. That's how I felt. I don't think I deleted it, but I felt bad the next morning that I drunkenly tweeted it. Game Day Men's Health text line 502-414-1450. That's the number. Let's get back to your thoughts here. Texter says, Mark Fletcher is a truck. So is Marty Brown from Miami. They are physical runners. I think both are better than Jordan Lyle. Yeah, they were talking about Lyle being their best guy going into the season, but these two guys have been, I mean, if you watch any point of any Miami game, Roman, they're just getting like 6 yards on. There are plays where their offensive line gets beat, which is rare, and 3 defenders are meeting at the point of attack, and they're still trucking forward for 4 or 5 yards. They are physical dudes that are just ready for they want the contact.
They do.
Fletcher was awfully good against us last year, too, which is not a great sign. Now, they're saying one of the storylines out of Miami is this is the biggest test for our offense. Louisville's the best defense we've faced. Statistically, I get that it's true. I would probably say Notre Dame's got more talent on that defensive side of the ball than we do. But this is kind of like the ultimate prove-it game for Ron English and company. I think they've proven it enough to this point where we know that they're good. But if they go out there and they keep us in position to win if they hold Miami to like 24 points on Friday night, then you look at the rest of the schedule and you're like, well, we should beat everybody that we play the rest of the year. We've got one of the best defense. Right now, we are ranked as the best defense in the ACC. If we can make good on that ranking on Friday night, dare I say, raise for Ron English?
Not going there yet.
You're not going there? I kind of am. He would have done a hell of a job. Romanator says, how the hell do we consistently have guys coming out of the bye week nicked up? For the love of God, Jeff, learn and change whatever the hell you're doing during these bye weeks. It's a mystery. It's not ideal. Not great. I don't know who's going to play on Friday. I don't know who's going to be 100% or if anybody's going to be 100%. But it was not the message that you wanted to hear on Monday coming off of a bye week.
At this point, I mean, never mind. Don't understand how it's consistently happening either.
Especially after bye weeks. Yeah, I mean.
Are we getting this from the doctor? Is this coming from the players?
A lot of questions. The exact quote was, unfortunately, we've had some nicks and bruises and injuries that have lingered and lasted a long time. We've got to get the guys back healthy as we can. We hope to have Kewan and Isaac as healthy as possible for the game on Friday. No mention of Duke is not encouraging. Now, we'll get the first injury report. Is it still Thursday, even for a Friday night game?
I was wondering that, too. It should be.
Because it's across ACC, so I assume it'll be Thursday and then Friday, like morning, we'll get the second one, and that'll be it. So we won't really know who's going to, if Duke Watson's out for this game, we won't find out until Thursday. I believe the Jeff Brom radio show is tonight. It's usually on Wednesday, but it'll be from 7 to 8 tonight on our sister station 970 WGTK. I believe at the Fern Creek Roosters. A day early because of the day early game this week. Maybe he'll give some insight into the injuries tonight, but typically they don't go that in-depth with stuff like that. So we're probably waiting until Thursday night to get any sort of word about who's probable, who's questionable, who's out, who's good to go. Texture says, I missed a few days and I'm catching up on the pod. I'm sure this was discussed, but Roman is an absolute psycho for wanting friends to ask before pooping at his place. If someone is doing an away-from-home poop, there has to be some sort of emergency situation going on. Everyone prefers to do business at home, right? Yeah, everyone loves the home bowl.
True, but what's up with you arriving to my house at noon on a Saturday, and you're blowing up my toilet by 12:20? You need to plan accordingly.
I think this is more of a indication that you got the wrong friends.
Now I feel like I need to wash my toilet up before I, do it.
If someone came over to my house at noon on a Saturday and just blew the place up, I'd have significant issues with it.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
they didn't ask me.
See, I'm not asking friends what they're doing when they're going to the bathroom.
We're chilling. I just cut the games on.
I'm just assuming.
And I haven't seen you for 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming if you're going to my bathroom, it's a number one. And if it's a number two, then we have to have a discussion afterwards. Because that's, come on, man. Like, if my friends had that happen, like the texter said, it would be an emergency, and I feel like they would let me know ahead of time. Like, I'm sorry about this, but, like, it's got to happen. And at that point, I'd be like, all right, a lot of match, whatever.
Let me know. Yeah, put a candle on. We've got some spray in there. Make sure you don't put all the toilet. Can I get a double flush as well? You don't know everybody's flushing tendencies, Mike.
Courtesy flush. Come on.
Exactly.
It's 2025. We're courtesy flushing. We're not sitting on top of a flaming pile of you know what. Just gross. Just letting that smell linger. What's the point? Come on. But yeah, I mean, I would never ask just because I feel like my friend. If I've got a friend who's going to be that disrespectful, we're probably not going to be friends again. You can't watch the game at my house. It's not happening. Texture says, you weren't able to get to my previous text from yesterday, but here is my favorite exchange from yesterday's show. Mike, quote, there was another Detroit sports team that lost this weekend. Roman, it was the Philadelphia Flyers.
I misheard you there, Mike.
Come on, kid. What are you doing?
I misheard you.
That was a good moment. It was a great moment. Text, how much money do I have to pay Big X to get rid of text groove and automated replies for penis pills? Go Cards, beat everyone. A lot. How much money are you willing to spend? That's where we'll start the conversation. Is it 5 figures? How much is it worth it for you not to receive boner pill text once a week? Is that worth $15,000 of your hard-earned money? If so, I believe we can make that happen. I believe I'll make some plays for you. I'll show you where to write the check. I'll tell you how to spell the last name. Let's go. Texter says, Dave, teacher from Jeffersonville. Now Dave's just trying to now people are trying to figure out if the blank text works. They're hitting the space bar and sending text to make sure that it works. Come on. Chris the Plumber says, Dan Meskey ducks Mike like Mike ducks my random pro-Trump text. Love you, Mike. I'm not ducking anything. What did he say? Did you all hear about that former McDonald's worker who brought peace to the Middle East this past weekend? Oh, that's from yesterday. I didn't duck that text. There were like 30 unread texts on the show yesterday, Chris the Plumber. Look, I'll say it. I don't care who it was or how it was done. Peace in the Middle East is a good thing. I support ceasefire. Hopefully everything holds. Hopefully this is the first step towards brighter days for everybody who's been involved in such horrific things for the past 2 years. Don't care how it happens, just care that it happens. Let's get it done. Let's continue moving forward. Texas, did you guys catch Braum in the presser yesterday talking about how good Miami's defensive front is? The SEC took a bit of a stray there. What did he say? I didn't catch this. Did you, Roman?
Nope.
I didn't either. Someone let me know what he said. I have to watch the game with a Kentucky fan Friday. Why would you do that to yourself? So if we win, I need as much Miami is better than any SEC team ammo I can get. But, of course, if we win, it'll be the national media's justification to put, like, Bama at 2, who lost to FSU, who lost to Virginia. We can't win. Why would you watch that game with a Kentucky fan? I couldn't do it. Roman, I feel like you could. I feel like you could handle Kentucky fans for a non-Louisville versus Kentucky game.
I think I could. Well, yeah. I think, actually, I wouldn't mind that.
I couldn't do it. Just the anytime.
Football game, I could do it.
No, I couldn't do it. Anytime they did anything.
If I have a buddy, I would just, like, if he started saying something, I'd be like, shut up, Cutter. We'd just start calling him Cutter.
See, I'd have a friend that would just, like, shift in their seat a little bit, and I'd be like, you want to say something? You got something to say, Craig? Just come out with it already. He, like, reaches for the chips. I'm like, what?
I almost had a bad stupid joke.
Say it.
No.
Come on, it's the rule. If you have a bad joke, you got to say it.
No.
Oh, man. Mark, by the way, there's some stupid stuff happening. Kentucky fans, is there any legitimate interest from Virginia Tech when it comes to Mark Stoops? Or are Kentucky fans trying to manifest this? Have you seen this?
I think they're manifesting.
I don't think there's any truth to it whatsoever. Because Virginia Tech is, they are far more committed financially to football above basketball than just about any power conference program outside the SEC. They could give two bleeps about basketball, and poor Mike Young is like, made a mistake here. I was regarded as one of the top offensive coaches in college basketball coming out of Wofford. Had my pick of jobs, and I just so happened to land at Virginia Tech right when NIL became a thing. This was a mistake. They're giving all their money to football. You're telling me they're going to invest all that money, and they're going to go out there and hire Mark Stoops to take over their program?
There's no way.
There's no way. And Kentucky fans are like, yeah, let's go. I don't see any Virginia Tech fans talking about this. It's just Kentucky fans talking about this. I mean, I just typed in Virginia Tech in Twitter, the search bar, and the first result is Mark Stoops that fills it in. And it's all Kentucky fans tweeting about this. It's just Kentucky fan after Kentucky fan after Kentucky fan. VT is investing $150 million in football. And then they're going to go hire Mark Stoops? No. Way too easy for you guys. Way too easy. Okay, here's the first Virginia Tech fan that I see. It's from Pete B. VT. If Virginia Tech hires Mark Stoops at this stage in the game, then when we supposedly have all this new funding, just shut the whole effing thing down. I imagine it's his agent doing really heavy lifting, but the rumor isn't doing us any favors. It would be immensely disappointing.
That's great.
This has to be an agent ploy.
It is.
He went 4-8 last year. They're probably going to go 3-9 this year.
Did you see the stipulations to his contract buyout? If they go with the buyout, what they have to do?
He gets all the money up front.
Within 60 days?
Yeah, like it's $39 million when I snap my fingers. That's what Mark Stoops is saying. Like our buyouts, as egregious as some of them have at least been, we're paying it over the course of 5 or 6 years or 7 years. Kentucky is like, boom, I want my money. You want me gone? Cool. I'll wait here till I get my money. I'll leave your office when it's time to go, Mitch. And that time is going to be when the money's laid out in front of me. I'd like it in 5s, please. Dollar bills.
He is not going anywhere until he gets that money.
I want to do a snow angel in the middle of my money before I leave Lexington. That's what's going to happen. Mitch Barnhart also had some comments today that were not overly encouraging when it comes to. So the Herald Leader interviewed Barnhart, and he did what any AD does in this situation, and he says, I believe in Mark Stoops. He's done great things here. Here's the full quote. Mark is working hard. Can I promise everything that everybody wants me to promise? No. There's no promise. We can play our hearts out and go and have one tough moment, and that goes against you in a game, and all of a sudden you find yourself with a loss that you didn't want. And that doesn't mean you didn't give effort. You didn't work your way through it, but Mark and his guys are working hard at it. Does that mean anything?
No.
It's just nonsense. They're going to try. Doesn't mean we're going to win.
And we're okay with it.
We're going to try. We don't lose games. We just have tough moments that don't give us the outcome that we want. That's what that is. We've never actually lost. We just had it's been a string of tough moments. They're going to fire him. There was a part of me there's still a part of me. I can never actually sit down and root for them. But there's a part of me that wants them to beat Texas this weekend. Just because it gives you a chance of keeping him around and pissing off that whole fan. If you've got a 5-7 Mark Stoops back in Lexington next year with a team that is once again picked to finish last or second to last in the SEC, they'll have like 20,000 fans in the first game. I want that world. I want to live in that world. I need that world. Texter says Con Knippel's name isn't short for Connor Roman.
I know. That's
His name is just Con.
Con Knippel, yeah.
I'm gonna. You always say that. I always thought. I've kind of just thought that's like a thing that you do.
I'm gonna make it a thing.
I'm gonna start calling you Roman Chego or Rome Chester United or Rome Manifest Destiny. I like the last one.
I don't like Rome Chester United.
Rome Manchester United. Texas, hey guys, Tuba CCBM again. What's up, Tuba CCBM? I hate to bring up yesterday's topic of conversation, but I was catching up on yesterday's episode this morning, and I have to say I disagree with you about getting rid of Braum after a dozen years or so if we're consistently an 8 to 10 win team, but never got into the playoffs. After the Payne and Bobby 2.0 years, give me guaranteed 8-win seasons over the possibility of garbage seasons. I think it's easy to say right now because we've never had that level of sustained success. There's not been one period in U of L football history where we have consistently won 8, 9, 10 games for a decade. It has never happened. But if you have that decade and you feel like there's no chance that you're going to be in the playoff with the current direction of the program, I'm good with making a move at that point in time. Now, this would be, the text was 12 plus years. So this would be basically 10 years in the future. It's a long way away. But I think that everybody who's right now is like, I would sign up for 9-win seasons from now until eternity, would change their mind. You get a little tired of it after you've had those 11 and 12 straight years of the same thing. I think you would take a chance to try to go after the biggest of goals. Because at a certain point, that's what it comes down to. Like, we've never been a program that's really been able to consistently talk about national championships. If you're winning 10 games 7 times in 10 years, and those other 3 years you're still winning 8 or 9 games, you're right there knocking on the door. It's time to figure out what you need to do to actually get inside the door, and you want to take that leap of faith. Like, I think the risk is worth the reward at that point. All right, hour number 3 is up next. We have a couple things to talk about that we have not gotten to just yet. We'll rectify that at the start of the hour. Then we'll get back to the text line at 502-414-1450. Look ahead to the night that will be in sports, and then we'll wrap it up and hand things over to the ticket punchers. Hour number 3 is next. It's the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. but just killed computers growing up.
Yeah, the old Samsung Galaxies in the day, I encountered a few different viruses trying to use the MP3 downloader app.
Oh yeah, it's the way that my parents are like, what's going on? I'm like, I'm trying to get myself musically educated. I enjoy music. Like, why don't you just go buy albums? I'm like, because I don't have any money. What do you want me to do? LimeWire it is. Shazam. Not Shazam. There was another one like that, like Shazah. Kazaa. That was what it was. God, there were like a million of these. Now they're all coming back to me. I'm remembering all the illegal services that I used. If you got caught at Dayton illegally downloading stuff on one of those, you had to go like take a class. You had to go like, take an educational class, and my roommate did, and he was terrified because you get the email where it's and it tells you what they caught you downloading, and you know there were other things that we downloaded back then, back in those days that were less accessible back then than they are now, and he was terrified that it was going to be like big booty bees, like something along those lines. And instead, it was the second less embarrassing thing, where it was like a bunch of Mariah Carey songs that he had downloaded in 2003 and had to go to a class for downloading, which was also not great. But thankfully, I never got in trouble. It was a different time. There were different hurdles for college kids back in 2004 than there are today. You'll never know the struggle if you're listening to this and you're in college. Anyway, a couple things going on today. SEC Media Days are happening for basketball. John Calipari just gave out a whopper of a quote that I just saw. He's talking about this new era of players being paid and all this stuff that's happening. First of all, he did say that he supports the NCAA tournament staying as is, which I respect. But he's talking about, when does it go too far for you? And he gave out this quote. If I become transactional, like I'm going to pay you this to do this and that, then I won't do this anymore. I'll get out of coaching. I don't need to. I mean, you're opening the door up just as wide as it can possibly be for the most obvious jokes of all time, which is you've been doing this like 30 years before this was a whole thing. Come on. Let's not act like everybody knows. Everybody knows there was stuff going on. Kentucky fans know. They're just willing to talk about it now more than they were 5 years ago. Everyone knows there was stuff going on at UMass. Everyone knows there was stuff going on at Memphis. Everyone knows there was stuff going on early on at Kentucky. Then it became more sophisticated. Let's not act like you've never gone to a kid and said, whether it's straight out in the open or through coded language, you are going to get this for coming here and playing this. Come on. Just stop. Stop with this. Speaking of, did you see the Field of 68, the interview that they had with Will Wade?
No.
Last week at ACC Media Day. I mean, I want to hate Will Wade, and I kind of do, just because I think he's genuinely not a good person. But he's great for the sport. And having him back at a power conference is going to be great. So Will Wade famously got caught up in the FBI wiretap. He's the only coach that they have actually on tape openly discussing paying players, where he's talking about getting Javonte Smart and saying, we made him a strong-ass offer, and he's talking about other guys and saying, I've paid more for better players than this guy who's not as good of a player. Like, all this stuff. He's on tape openly talking about paying players. And they're having this conversation about Darian Williams, was one of the biggest players in the portal, and Jeff Goodman says, Darian Williams, the prize of the portal, he better deliver because you paid him a lot of money. Can we say that now? We can say that now, right? And Will Wade goes, well, I've always said that.
Wow.
I mean, totally, like he starts laughing, Goodman starts laughing. This is where we are now. Like, keep in mind, like, this was the biggest thing that happened in college. This shook the landscape of college basketball. You had the bleeping FBI come in and say college basketball is so rampant with cheating and gross stuff, and it's representative, it's indicative of the moral decay of this country, and we're going to go in here and clean this up. We're going to fix this thing. Yeah. Ah. And now, less than a decade later, you have the same coaches that were caught on tape talking about cheating who are now joking about that same thing. And everybody knows that players are being paid high-ish seven figures, and very high six figures, and nobody cares. We fired Rick Pitino for this. We fired the most successful athletic director in the history of our program for this. And now it's a joke. It's kind of hard for me to joke about it. I get that it is a joke. I get that it's always been a joke. But it wasn't a joke back then. Certainly did not feel like a joke in the fall of 2017. What happened to our program after that was not a joke. Well, it was kind of a joke. We became a joke. But, my God, it's things have shifted dramatically in a very, very short period of time. But props to Will Wade for being funny about it, I guess.
It's never going back either.
I mean, you can't put the cat back in the bag at this point. I don't know if that's even the saying, but I stand by it. You let a cat out of a bag, it's got to stay out of that bag forever. You can't shove it back in there. A couple other things to talk about. We mentioned yesterday when we were talking about the AP poll and the KenPom ratings that I'm trying to think of another way to say by and large because I've been saying it way too much this week. But by and large, the computer rankings have been far lower on Louisville this preseason than the human rankings. If you'd like some direct evidence of that, here you go. So KenPom has Louisville at 14. Bart Torvik has Louisville at number 11. Evan Miyakawa has Louisville at number 17. You compare that to the big networks out there that cover college basketball. The AP poll, if you want to throw them in there, they've got Louisville at number 11. The Athletic has Louisville at number 6. ESPN has Louisville at number 6. Field of 68 has Louisville at number 6. College Hoops Today has Louisville at number 14. And then CBS actually has Louisville ranked lower than anybody else at number 15. Those are Gary Parrish's rankings. I mean, I think we talked about this yet. What do you think is at the core of humans being so much higher on this team than KenPom, Bart Torvik, and their algorithms, which take into account a host of different things?
Pat Kelsey.
You think the humans respect Pat Kelsey more than the computers do, even though KenPom has him ranked as the 4th best coach in college basketball right now?
I feel like there's so much there's more storylines going on around this team than actual just numbers. I mean, though, the numbers, if you look at the tendencies for last year, the players that you're replacing with last year's players, obviously tendencies are going to change in 1 year when you had so much happening with rotations and injuries last year. Everything Louisville likes to do and Louisville does well, Louisville should do better, but the computers can't really analyze that, I don't think, as good as a human can.
Here's what I think it is. Outside of the things that we talked about yesterday with the computers not really knowing what to make of Sananda Frew and some of these other guys, offense sells, right? In any sport.
Yep.
People love offense. And Louisville is a very easy buy when it comes to looking at the offensive pieces they brought in this year. You know, Ryan Conwell was a bucket getter at Xavier. Isaac McNeely is an offensive machine at Virginia. Michael Brown looks like the most exciting young point guard in a while. Woolley, scorer. Cason Pryor, offensive stats out the wazoo going into last season. Ali Khalifa, best passing big man in bat, all of that stuff.
Yep.
It's easy to take that into account and kind of overlook the defensive flaws if you're a human more than it is to look at a team that's great defensively but has a guy. It's like, are we really going to get excited about a guy who averages 6.7 points per game and transferred into Louisville if he's a great defender? Like, I think we're harder on teams that have more of a defensive makeup than teams that have an offensive makeup, whereas computers weigh it equally. For instance, you look at KenPom. KenPom projects that Louisville's going to be the 5th best offensive team in college basketball and has them at 38th defensively, which is the lowest of any team ranked in the top 20. So the computers think that Louisville's going to be worse defensively than the humans do, or the humans just don't care about it. They're just not looking at the defensive numbers. They're not getting into it.
I get away with that when you're projected to be a team that's going to be able to put 90-plus up on the board.
Sure,
on
but
anybody.
I still think at the end of the day, you've got to be a very good defensive team if Louisville's going to get where it wants to get this season. They got to be about in the range of where they were. What did we finish last season defensively? We were 25th. We were a better defensive team last year than we were on offense. We were 25th defensively, 31st on offense.
The beginning of the year offensive numbers kind of weighed us down pretty bad.
Yeah, and you can't look at just points per game. We're going to play games that have a lot of possessions. You know, everyone talked about Alabama a couple of years ago, those early Nate Oates teams. Well, the defense is the issue, and then you looked at the efficiency ratings. They were like the 3rd or 4th best defensive team in college basketball. They just gave up a ton of points because they were playing very high possession games. We're going to have to be the same way this year. You don't win. If you look at the recent national champions, Florida, 6th in defense last year. UConn, 4th in defense. UConn the year before that, 7th in defense. I'm trying to find the last national champion that ranked outside the top 10 in defense. Kansas. Okay, there it is. Kansas, 17th. They were the 6th best offensive team and the 17th best defensive team. If we're like the number 1 offensive team, you could probably get away with being 22nd, 23rd on defense, but you can't be around 50. You've got to be very good at both. You can be elite at one and not be elite at the other, but you can't be just downright average at one. The old, defense wins championships. I mean, I think we can outgrow that. Offense and defense win championships. You've got to have both. And if Louisville doesn't learn how to defend well enough this season, they're not going to make a Final Four. They're not going to win a national title, and they're not going to be a realistic contender. We got to find who the dogs are on defense, and we got to get the most out of them. And we got to get Michael Brown ready to defend too, because he's going to be on the floor a lot. And the point guard is the most important player for the way that Pat Kelsey likes to play defensively. Chucky Hepburn showed that last year. We got to get Michael able to defend without fouling. The reaching's got to stop because he did a lot of that in his international prospects. A couple quick things to talk about. Congratulations, Louisville Volleyball, Calissa Blackshear, ACC Freshman of the Week. She's been phenomenal so far this season. Cards, again, up to number 4 in this week's top 25 poll. They'll play SMU on Friday, and then a nationally televised matchup against Pitt Sunday, 1 o'clock, ESPN. Get out there to L&N Federal Credit Union Arena if you can. Mentioned this before already, but Louisville women's basketball, they are number 20 in the preseason poll. We also found out the ACC honors came out for on the women's side today, and multiple Louisville players were honored as preseason All-ACC. It is pull this up. Who was it? Now I don't have this in front of me. Now I've completely lost it. Just take my word for it. We have a couple of All-ACC performers this year. We'll be fine. We're good. We'll find that details in a second. A highest graded ACC defense is at the midway point, Roman. Miami, according to Pro Football Focus, a 90.9 defensive grade. Louisville second, 90.3. No other team in the conference is above an 84, which is where Clemson is. This is a battle of the 2 best defenses in the ACC. I don't think many people would have projected that going into the season. Maybe they would have said that about Miami. They certainly wouldn't have said it about us. What do you make of the over-under for this game? Some people are expecting a lot of points. Some people are like, I think this is going to be more like a 21-17 type game because of how good both these defenses are. Low scoring, high scoring. Which would you prefer as a Louisville fan?
I'd prefer a low scoring game. Unfortunately, I think obviously it'd be really nice to see this offense go and show that it can put up a lot of points on a really, really good defense. And I'm not saying I like low scoring. I want us to win this game 13-10. That's
Sure, yeah.
completely nothing. I mean, 21-17 kind of a victory. I think that if you can show that you can stop this team from scoring 3 touchdowns total, that's a very, very positive sign. And, Mike, I think I can't call it the first true test just because of what that Virginia offense was going into that game, and that's a quarterback that can really make things happen. But this is an all-around true test, I think, with the run game, the offensive line, the pass game, and a quarterback who can actually make those downfield throws. The defense is going to have its hands full here. Now, if it can handle that on the road, Mike, I think that's a really good sign.
Yeah, no question.
Because you expect the Miami defense to kind of be able to hold any offense in place down there. So,
yeah.
If we can do the same thing, I think that's it'll give me more positive feelings, I feel like, going forward.
Miami, I know our running game has stunk this year. Miami's still, I'm sure, going into this game saying we're going to force Miller Moss to beat us. Louisville kind of has to force Carson Beck to beat them. If Miami is getting, with those big physical running backs, 7 yards every time they run a standard run play,
they don't have to throw the ball.
We got no chance. You can't control that. You've got to sell out to stop the run and then hope that your secondary can hold up against those elite athletes on the outside. And you got to also hope that Carson Beck turns back into a pumpkin a little bit and makes some of the same types of mistakes that we saw him make throughout last season. If he doesn't, then, I mean, look, it's a Miami team when they're cooking. They're the best team in college football right now. It's them or Ohio State. They don't have a ton of weaknesses on paper. So You got to pick your battles.
Any weaknesses?
They look awfully good. This is what happens when you've got a lot of money down there to invest in your football program.
The only consistent thing I think they've done negatively is let off the gas with the play calling when they get a lead, and it's a kind of lead that they don't really they it warrants them doing that.
Look, they've got a dumb head coach. There's
that's something
there's no way around it.
Something the fans have complained about, apparently.
It's the only complaint. Like, if I'm a Miami fan right now, I'm looking at every unit of this team, and I'm saying there's no weaknesses here. The only thing that can screw this up is our head coach. And I typically think it's an overreaction when a team goes out there, even if they're a really proud program and they go 10-2 with a really elite roster and then they fire the head coach. If this Miami team somehow does what they did last year and loses a couple of just inexplicable games, I would fire Mario Cristobal and say the only thing that's holding us back is the head coach. We've invested everywhere else. We have the talent everywhere else. We got to find a coach that can just – I think you and I could coach this team to 5-0 right now and probably have them at least 11-1 into the playoff. They're loaded. They paid – their offensive line's making more than, like, the Chargers' offensive line. Like those guys are making a ton of money. So it's easy to retain your best players and bring in best players at your weak spots when you've got that level of funding, and you're seeing the benefits of it.
The defensive coordinator they brought in, too, I think has been a major change as well. They're actually getting the most of their talent on that end of the ball, too, now.
Yeah, I mean, they had issues defensively last season. We saw that firsthand. 1450 is the Gameday Men's Health text line. Reminding you one more time that Gameday Men's Health is redefining men's wellness. No shortcuts, just results. Testosterone, peptides, weight loss, and sexual performance therapy. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com today to find out how they're defining a new era in men's health. One last thing before we go to the text line. There was a great write-up on Louisville baseball by Aaron Fitt of D1Baseball.com. This team, they've had a couple of exhibition games this fall. They took that trip to Chicago. All of the core of their College World Series team from last year that's coming back had gigantic summers up there in the Cape Cod leagues. Aaron Fitt wrote this. This is the money paragraph. Good luck finding a better quartet of returning players to build around than Louisville's core four of outfielders Lucas Moore and Zion Rose, plus shortstop Alex Alicea and first baseman Teg Davis. Any team in the nation would be thrilled to have that kind of star power. I mean, don't look now. I'm not looking ahead. People are like, don't look past football. We're certainly not looking past basketball. But once basketball ends, that baseball team has the opportunity to give us another special late May, early June. They should be just about as good as anybody in the country if they can get that starting pitching reloaded this season. So they're going to score a lot of runs. It's going to be an exciting spring out there at Jim Patterson Stadium.
He's almost ready. This arm will be warm, Mike. I'll get out there.
Oh, you have eligibility.
They need me. Got one more year left.
Let's make it happen.
I think. They never gave me my diploma.
There's always eligibility. Then you're good. You have a full 4 years. You're fine. Texter says, I've went to both games against Miami the past 2 years, one on the road and lost at home. Not sure how to feel about not going this year. Cards by 3.
I love the cards by 3 here, Mike. Cooper Ranvier.
Look, Swaggy
no
Coop.
time left on the clock.
Swaggy Coop's going to bring it against the U. You know he's going to bring it.
47-yarder. Knock it down.
As long as the snap's good, I feel very good about our kicking game.
Come on.
By the way, if you go to a game at Miami, I assume the fan base will be more present this year than they were 2 years ago. Like, they were a good team 2 years ago, but they'd already lost a couple of times, and the game was more important for us than it was for them. But from folks that I've talked to that have gone to Miami games in the past, it's typically not a huge crowd. Now, 04 was obviously different. They were undefeated and ranked second or third in the country. But when we've played them and they've been just kind of okay, you're playing at that NFL stadium. It's not packed. But the Miami fans who do go to the games, apparently they're like just ready to fight everybody. That's all I've heard, is that they are brash, they are mean, they will get into it with you. So I know a decent amount of U of L fans that are making the trip. I'm very curious to hear about that experience, especially if the game is competitive on Friday night. I mean, Friday night in Miami, people are going to be partying. They're going to be lit.
Abelson will give us a first-hand recap.
Is Abelson going?
He's going. Him and my buddy Mason are going.
I can't wait. We may have to have Abelson on the show.
That's what I told him Monday.
I haven't been to the only time I've been to Miami was
if we win.
Yeah, hell yeah. We went down there for the Orange Bowl. It's a different world down there. When you're like eating brunch on Ocean Drive, and just like dude walk down with like a giant snake wrapped around his neck. Girl walks down topless, and you're like, yeah, all right, this is. You don't see this on Main Street. Nulu does not offer this to Louisvillians. It's different. Texas says, is there an issue with specific or multiple players not practicing? And is it injury-related players or something bigger? I mean, who the hell knows at this point? I mean, Jeff has certainly hinted at it publicly that players aren't practicing, that he feels like are able to practice. I don't know if that's still a thing.
If you get banged up, Mike, it's easy to tell the trainer you're still not feeling right. Now all of a sudden you're not going through full reps at practice.
The one thing that I think there are players who have been cleared by the medical staff who have had their agents come in and say they're not playing.
Kawhi Leonard level stuff right there.
And that's an issue to me. If the medical staff, I mean, you are a member of the U of L football program. If the U of L football medical staff
doctors
that are paid to do specifically this say, yeah, like he's good to go, but your agent steps up and says, well, no, we talked to our doctors. He's not good to go. We can't, when you're having to clear players through agents, I think that's an issue at this point. I don't know if everybody's dealing with this or if it's just us or what's going on there, but that's when it feels like things have gone to. I mean, hell, even if you're in the NFL, if team doctors clear you to play, you should play. You don't need to be going out there and having your agents fly you across the country to get a fifth opinion from a doctor that is going to tell you what you want to hear and then being like, hey, he says I'm not good enough. I got to sit out 3 weeks. Like, this is basic stuff. Play the game. Also, you're not a pro yet. You're kind of a pro, but if you want to be an actual pro, play the games. Practice. Come on. Stop sending in the empty text, guys. Stop. Texas, the 2019-20 season was when we were number 1 until we lost to Texas Tech. Yep. I could see the Red Raiders in our bracket come March. That's Stallworth. I don't know why. Why could you, Stallworth? Just because they're going to be good? I need more details there. I think they're going to be really good. I'm higher on Texas Tech than I think just about anybody. But has not gone well for us when we've played them in the past decade. That was bad, and then the Kenny Payne Maui Invitational, where I believe the final score was 72-36. Is that right? I think it was, if I'm thinking off the top of my head, 72-36. I think was the Maui score in 23. 70-38. I was close. We lost by 42 points, and we scored 38 points. That, to me, was the lowest of the low. That was when I was like, I mean, we looked like a 7th grade C team out there. It was pathetic. Wanted to cry. Then go ahead.
Michigan as the number 2 and his two text above that. Sampson's first NCAA tournament loss as Houston head coach was a buzzer beater to Michigan back in 2018. Was that Jordan Poole?
That was Jordan Poole. Great celebration. Hits it, kind of spreads the legs out, does the big run across the country.
Arms up while he's running or whatever?
Yeah. Also a terrible moment. A Houston player named Devin Davis had 2 free throws to ice that game. He missed both. And one of those moments that kind of just stuck with me is all the reporters that were there. They videoed him after the game was over, after all the press conference was over. He just went back out to the free throw line, empty arena, and he had his phone out. He's like taking a picture of himself standing at the free throw line. And it was his last college game. I tried to do a story on him last March, and he agreed to talk and then went back on it. But that was a crazy game.
Gosh, he was probably feeling low in that moment.
Probably still is at this point. All right, 5 o'clock hour is up next. We'll run through the text line. We'll talk about the night that will be in sports. And then we'll hand things off to Roman Kelly and the Ticket Punchers. Keep it locked right here, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. I was a big Gorillaz guy. Big Gorillaz guy.
Figured you were.
Big fan. I even like the I didn't listen to the last one, but the second and third albums that nobody listened to, I enjoyed.
Forgot they cuss in there.
Say what?
Forgot they cuss in there.
Oh yeah. Was that not edited?
No.
Okay. I'm glad we cut it there. Nobody heard that.
No.
I
Didn't say anything.
We're good to go. 5 o'clock hour here on the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Reminder, if you've been injured recently in an accident or on the job and you're looking for proper, the money to make it right, you want your life to get back on track, you need a little bit of money to make up for the time you lost. The Collier Law Firm has you covered. The Collier Law Firm, we always talk about this, but it's important. The attorney fees there start at just 25%. So once they're done getting you the money that you deserve for your recovery, they don't want half that money to go back in their pockets. Big firms are going to make you sign a contract that's going to put 40, 45, 50% of your recovery money back with them. That's not what the Collier Law Firm is about. The Collier Law Firm, they got your back. They don't have your wallet. Give them a call today, 502-736-8141, or visit them online at collierlawfirm.com, COLYER lawfirm.com. Hurt in an accident, hurt on the job. Call your law firm. We were talking about the baseball team there right there before the break. Sean Moth did text me to say, tomorrow, if you're jonesing, if you're fiending for a taste of Cardinal baseball, Sean Moth's got you covered. He'll be over on our partners over at 93.9 The Ville at 6 o'clock with coverage of the U of L Pizza Bowl games. Saturday at noon, also he'll be on the radio. They do the Pizza Bowl every single year. It's the inter-squad competition. It's a great way to kick off it, kind of wrap up the fall, and then kick off the 2026 season. Last chance you get to hear Louisville baseball on the radio, the dulcet tones of Sean Moth, until we actually get to February and the games start for real. But it's going to be another exciting season. Dan McDonald's got the boys rolling, Roman. We're feeling good. We're feeling good across the board right now. If we can get this big football win Friday night, we know what basketball is bringing to the table. Women's basketball is top 20 preseason. Baseball is looking great. Volleyball is in the thick of another national title race. Come on the show, Mesky. And it's all going well. It's all going according to plan if football can get this thing going and win this game on Friday night against Miami. Give me an updated confidence level, 1 through 10. Tuesday update, you were 7-2 yesterday. What are you today?
Like a 7-4 today, 7-5 today.
You're going up a little bit.
Going up a little bit. Going up a little bit.
Any sort of rational explanation or just whatever?
No ration.
Okay,
just get fine. The closer we get to that game time, the closer we get to watching Colin Lacey, Chris Bell. I mean, no one's talking about how we're due for a punt return or kickoff return touchdown. No one's talking about how they're not kicking to Colin Lacey anymore. We've got a bye week. They're going to forget that, Mike. First kickoff return to us is going for a touchdown.
This feels. I also feel like this is a Chris Bell balling out spot where he has
national lights on him.
Exactly.
He knows that if he has a big game here, big culprit in maybe giving his team a chance to win. That's how you keep your names rising up on those draft boards.
He's had the 2 monster performances the last couple of weeks. He's won ACC Receiver of the Week, gotten some national recognition. But if we're being real, most college football fans haven't watched that game. Chris Bell is a name to them. He's not an image. This is an opportunity to go out there and solidify. I mean, let's just face it. Like, I know scouts have access to all the tape in the world. They're still more likely to be watching a nationally televised game. You can still make more of a dent with a big-time performance in a game like this with pro scouts, pro coaches, pro whatever, than you can lighting up Virginia on the ACC network or lighting up Pitt on the ACC network. This would be a big spot for him to solidify himself as one of the premier wide receivers in the sport and one of the best receivers for the upcoming NFL draft. So big spot for Chris Bell. Would not be shocked at all if he balls out. Someone said this to me. I don't know why they did this. This is on this day in 2004, exactly 21 years ago, Louisville blew a 24-7 lead against number 3 Miami. Lost 41-38 in one of the best Thursday night football games in the history of ESPN's Thursday Night Football. Devin Hester, the big punt return.
Yeah.
Kerry Rhodes, the big dropped interception.
It's time to get our get back from that, Mike.
Oh, we've been long overdue. I know I've told this story before, but just I already had the reputation. This is my sophomore year at Dayton. I already had the reputation as like the Louisville guy in my class. It's like everyone knew I was a diehard, and I've been I'm like we're actually really good at football. In most of Dayton's class, like a lot of Ohio State fans there, a lot of Michigan fans there. They're like, oh, we play big boy football, and I'm like, we're big boy football too. That was me, like trying to pipe in. I'm like, we're beating Memphis by 31 points. Come on, guys, like pay attention. And then everybody started respecting us after this. After we get out to this huge lead on the U on national TV, and then we blow it late. And I walked into class the next morning, and it was like everyone had witnessed my mom being executed on national TV the night before. Like people didn't want to look at me in the eyes. They're like, "Hey, man, how you holding up?" Like it was terrible. It was awful. It was like the worst moment of all time. But they respected Louisville football after that, a little bit. It was a bad day, bad night, even worse morning. It still stings all these years later. But like Roman said, we can make up for it with a win. I mean, look, as much of an opportunity as that was at that moment in time for Louisville football, this Miami team is ranked higher than that Miami team was back then. This is the number 2 team. Let's go. Let's get one of the best wins in program history. I'm getting there, Roman. I'm building myself up.
I feel like Miller Moss is due as well, Mike. Granted, he's had 2 big statistical performances technically in a row, going over 300 yards like that. He won a big game like this last year. Miller Moss has a big win in him as well. I think it comes this Friday.
Okay, I love that. Here's the quote that the text line was talking about earlier, where Jeff Brom was praising Miami and the SEC caught it stray. He was talking about the Miami defense and said, this Miami defense, it's better than any front in the last 3 to 4 years of the SEC. Said it's not about the conference, it's about where you can develop and get opportunities. I mean, he may not be wrong. Miami, if all things continue to go the way that they are now, Miami will have the opportunity to prove it in the playoff against some of the best teams from the SEC. But certainly, they've looked the part so far. They have been dominant up front on both sides of the ball against everybody that they've played. The only time when they've looked at all vulnerable was in the fourth quarter of that Florida State game when it did feel like they just took their feet off the gas and some weird stuff happened. Besides that, it's just been they have manhandled every team that they've played for all 4 quarters every time they stepped on the field. And that's what we're up against on Friday. Game Day Men's Health text line is 502-414-1450. It's your last segment to have your voice heard on the radio. Let's get to it. Let's go. Texter says, I just don't get this whole playoff or bust mentality. Just because Louisville isn't going to the playoff doesn't mean that this can't be a fun and successful season. Yes, casual fans won't care as much, and Louisville won't get as much national attention, but why would I let that affect my own perspective as a diehard? And the argument that the playoff is everything because of the national exposure or money or whatever seems like a flimsy argument. TCU and Cincy have been very mid since making the playoff, which proves that making the playoff and getting wrecked by a Big Ten or SEC opponent doesn't actually do that much for the program moving forward. I would love to make the playoff, but also I would love to see us win 10 games, beat Kentucky, and finish ranked in the top 25. Hot take, if your fandom ends with the playoff chance, when the playoff chances end, then you're a casual fan. I don't think people are like not going to pay attention, but it is.
It warrants losing excitement if you have such high preseason expectations, and then you have the season start and you have a lot of different areas on the field in which your personnel kind of resembles one that could make a playoff push.
I mean, I obviously will watch every game we play this year, every second of every game. I think most people listening are in the same boat. But I'm not going to sit here and say that if you told me right now that there's no chance Louisville makes the playoff, that my excitement level for the upcoming games won't dip at least a little bit. I mean, it's the big prize. It'd be like, I mean, with college basketball, you're able to maintain focus through the ups and the downs because you know you've always got a chance to make the NCAA tournament. And when you get in the NCAA tournament, anything's possible. If you like when we self-banned ourselves from the postseason in 2016, I'm not going to act like my interest in the rest of that season was as high as it would have been if I'd known we were working towards March Madness. Like you lost some excitement, and I do think that it would be different if bowl games meant what they used to. if the excitement for the best bowl game outside of the playoff was still what it used to be when you were like when we were made the BCS in 06 and the BCS in 2012, like it was the greatest thing ever. Like we were incredibly excited to go play the Orange Bowl again. It didn't matter that it was Wake Forest. The Sugar Bowl against Florida was incredible. Like we were just jacked to the nines for that opportunity. And bowl games just aren't there like that anymore. It didn't matter that we weren't playing for a national title back then. We were just thrilled.
Nobody cares about the outcome of bowl games.
I can't tell you the result of one bowl game outside of the playoff from last year. I can't. I'll
tell you Louisville's.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'll watch them as they happen. I'll pay attention to them as they're going on. But it's like once they're over, they're done. It doesn't matter. I'm all I care about is the playoff as a neutral fan. So if we thought, hey, we could go 10-2 and go to the Cotton Bowl and play a really good team, and it would be a big achievement for the program, I think that would be enough to keep people hanging on. Like beating Clemson for a second straight year would still be something that we would get excited about. Certainly beating Kentucky once again would be something that we would get excited about. But the potential excitement of beating 6 average to below average teams that aren't close to the top 25 and going 10-2 but not really having a chance to play in the ultimate goal of the sport, which is the college football playoff, it takes away something. It just does. It can still be a great season, but I don't think this is a Louisville thing either. I think this is most power conference teams at this point, at least the ones that have reasonably high expectations going into a season. Texter says, Mike, I'm sorry I haven't been listening this week. How dare you? I live in Nashville, and my friends told me about Jared Stillman's show, and I had to listen. I don't care if it's an act or not. The dude is entertaining, and I can't turn it off. But I'm back to your show to get ready for our win over Miami. Love Jared. Very good guy. I know he's doing, I think, a show on YouTube now.
What's his show?
Well, he hosted Drive Time in Big Time Nashville Radio. He ended up just, I think, 2 months ago, leaving the station after they couldn't come to an agreement on his latest contract. And now I think he does a YouTube show where he focuses on Tennessee sports down there. A lot of Preds talk, a lot of Tennessee Titans talk, little Tennessee Volunteers, little Vanderbilt talk. But he used to do radio back here in Louisville. He was known as he before that he was J-Bone, who was like the fan MC at home games, and he sucked. He was every time he came on, something terrible happened, and I just like this is back in my blogging days when I was just pretty ruthless. I ruthlessly wrote about J-Bone and how bad he was, and he had me on radio for the first time and tried to do like this whole big call out thing where he read all of my words. And he was like a grown man referring to himself as J-Bone and like calling him a douche and stuff like this. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. I hated the J-Bone persona. You're good on the radio though. And he's a good guy. I feel kind of bad about it now, but his J-Bone character that he did at home game, it was terrible. It was awful. And then Joey Wagner started doing it after him, but it was we'd have like an injured player and they'd be like, let's toss it on down to J-Bone. And like J-Bone, it wasn't his fault. It was a bad time in Louisville football's history. It was poor. But he ended up doing radio with Diener and then got his own show over at 680, I think, and then moved to Nashville. Texas says the bird mass plan is the perfect way to stop the Braum blunder. I'm telling you, if you want a guaranteed victory, 55,000 bird mass fans sitting in dead silence under the lights, no chance you lose. Forget about national news. We make college football history. College football historians, like that goes, you can't write the story of college football without talking about that game. Hundreds of years from now, we would be in the annals of history. Can we pull it off? No, but it's worth a try. Louisville did try to actually give the student section a bunch of bird masks a few years ago and then realized that it wasn't fiscally responsible because those things are kind of expensive.
Just got an interesting LinkedIn suggestion here, Mike.
Who's that?
Bobby Petrino, University of Arkansas. Send him an invite.
Shut up.
Do I send him an invite?
Oh, I thought he sent you an invite.
No, I was trying to get me to connect with him.
I almost got so excited.
Imagine he should send me one.
Man. I was going to spend the rest of the show just telling you what to message him when you became friends on LinkedIn. Hey, man, just pose as a girl and just send him some messages. He kept the game interesting against Tennessee last week. They were in it for a while. It was close in the fourth quarter, and kind of flamed out. Texter says, what happens to the NIL revenue share money that a U of L sport doesn't use in a given year? Does it just sit in a coffer for future use, or does it get reallocated to other sports? I mean, I think we all hope to have this problem. I don't think that's ever going to be an issue. I think that all the NIL money will be spent when all said and done. But yes, in theory, if there's leftover money from men's basketball, that money would be funneled over to women's basketball or baseball or what have you. I think you can also, with these private donations, which is going to continue to be a thing, you had Rick Heber who came forward and said, I'm donating $1 million, and I'll match your donations, which it ended up being a $2 million gift. And he specifically said, this money's going to men's basketball. And if there's any left over, it will go to football. So I think that there's also that possibility when it comes to people that are donating to the collectives and donating directly to the programs. They can say, I want my money to go to football, or I want my money to go to volleyball, or what have you. But as far as the revenue fund sharing stuff, one, there's not going to be money left over. If there is, then it would get funneled around to the sports that are receiving direct NIL money, which as of right now is men's basketball, women's basketball, football, volleyball, and baseball. Texture says, I don't think that Jeff is saying people got injured over the bye. I think he's just referencing the pre-bye injuries. I take no mention of Duke, as he's fine and ready to go. I hope so. I think Duke was the guy who got hurt the most in the game against Virginia. He had a legitimate injury and tried to play through it, definitely got more banged up in that game, and looked, we didn't see him after the initial hobbling. Kewan was clearly not playing 100%, tried to give it a go. All credit to him. He's definitely been a dog this season. He's tried his best to be out there on the field as much as he can, and unless something extra happened to him, I'll be shocked if Kewan's not ready to go Friday night. Text says, hey, Mark, I've been seeing rumors that Bryson Tiller is going to be in attendance for the Louisville-Kansas game so that he can see Bryson Tiller take on the Cards. I can't believe we didn't land a basketball player named Bryson Tiller. Did you know about this, Roman?
I knew that there was a player with this name.
Yeah, he ends up signing with Kansas. They're taking everything. We were going to have this fun Tay Kenny stuff. We're going to have a fun Bryson Tiller going to Louisville and taking pictures with the real Bryson Tiller. Kansas is just ruining everything that's fun for us.
We're preying on their downfall.
How do you not make that your recruiting pitch? Hey, it's not exactly like you've got a super common name, but we've got somebody that has the exact same name who's from our city and he's pretty famous. Why don't you come play basketball for us? It seems like a no-brainer. Texas, having UConn women play at the Yum Center would be awesome. I couldn't care less if 1.4 federal employees go without a paycheck or if poor people don't get their SNAP benefits. I was joking. But if it has to continue, maybe we can get something good out of it. Texas, I went to the tip-off luncheon today for men's basketball. The food was great with some rich chocolate cheesecake. Maybe this has already been said, but a good nickname for Sonny Frew would be the Berlin Wall. Don't know if I love that. Didn't go great for the Berlin Wall when all was said and done. Didn't exactly stand the test of time. So maybe we put a pin in that and we come back to it. Okay? Is that okay?
Yeah, I don't know how much Frew would like that one.
Texas says, in college, I had a buddy that lived off of campus. Early in the semester, he texted me and my roommate to ask if he could hang at our dorm in between classes. He immediately came in and blew up our bathroom. We quickly learned that he was coming over solely to use our clean bathroom. We stopped answering those texts to hang out pretty quickly. See, that's just a bad friend.
That's terrible.
You got to cut that guy out. Dave, teacher says, wait, why'd you skip my first text? Because you sent in the blank text, Dave. I'm on to you. Texas Canes fans have been soaking up the comments quite a bit on this threads. What is this? Jeff Brom talking about Louisville head coach Jeff Brom says SEC teams told him Miami's D-line is better than anything they've seen in the last 5 years. The real QB hunters. Yeah, I would too if I saw that quote. Look, maybe Jeff's just fattening him up with compliments. This is big game Brom. This is what he's doing. He's in his bag right now. He knows that Miami lets stuff like this go to their heads. He's fattening them up. They're going to be all just content, laid back. Fans aren't going to bring the typical heat. We're good to go. Texas says, the hybrid theory talk got me thinking. What are some more CDs that had a hold on a generation? The first one I immediately think of is Katy Perry's Teenage Dream. It had the radio waves of the nation captured for what felt like all of the early 2010s. Michael Jackson, Thriller, obviously. Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill, mid-90s, huge. Backstreet Boys, Millennium. I'm sure there are more. Roman, what was an album that, like, when you were 13, just had a chokehold on you and the friend group?
13. 13. That's. If you're reading this is too late.
Okay, and that was a big one. Yeah, I could see that.
I believe. No, that's freshman year. I was 14.
Whenever that came out, that would be a big one. Rumors, Fleetwood Mac, big one. Texture says, I had an old basketball coach tell me that offense sells tickets, defense wins games, rebounds win championships. Do you agree that this is baloney? Yeah. They all win games. Play great defense and rebound incredibly well and don't score any points and see what happens. You're not winning championships. Got to have all three. Texas, how concerning is our clock management? The end of the UVA game, we had no urgency, and if we didn't pick up that super long third down, we would have blown our chance. It's concerning. I would rate it as strong to very strong when it comes to concern level. Clock management's been bad. Texas Mike, the LaRue County hate is hilarious, but one of my childhood friends in his first year as the football coach there, great guy and a coach, but a huge Kentucky fan, unfortunately. With all of that said, I dramatically approve of the LaRue County hate. I hate them dorks, too. Cards by 10 on Friday night. Your friend sucks. He's a bad guy. He's not a great guy. He's a bad coach, terrible guy. Awful. Look, you ride with an outlaw, you die with an outlaw.
Yep.
He's riding with outlaws over there.
Can't do that.
Can't do it. I can't respect him. I don't know his name. He's terrible. He's not a molder of men. Texture says, drinks guy here. I'm in Scotland. How many drinks should I have before the Miami game? Okay, he's in Scotland. I assume he's staying in Scotland for Friday.
There's overseas inflation. You can drink more when you're overseas.
It's also like a 1 a.m. kickoff in Scotland.
Oh, it is.
16 drinks. You're getting hammered.
Go ahead and make it 17.
17 drinks. 17 drinks, and we're holding Miami to 17 points.
On the night of the 17th. I love it.
Let's go. Texas to the last Texas point about not making the playoff. He's 100% right. You compared him to the tournament, which is easier to make. The NCAA tournament or the Constable playoff. I would argue the NCAA. Yeah, I mean, for us, the NCAA, the basketball tournament's way easier to make. No question about it. The effect is still the same, though. It's the big show, and anything else is, it's not even second fiddle. It's like third fiddle at this point. Nobody cares about anything besides the playoff. They just don't. So we could still have a really good season, but to act like the excitement level doesn't dip at all when the potential of making the college football playoff is gone, I think at least for me, is just not true. Texture says, DFG here. I can't believe you guys didn't make your picks from the Donut Factory Sportsbook. I'm slowly more optimistic now, convincing myself that after our loss, Miami may not have been focused in prep for us during the bye week, and Roman is perking me up with all this talk about Beck's dark cloud. Keep the good vibes coming and stay glazed. Go Cards. You sticking with that with the dark cloud?
Yep.
Okay. He's got a dark past.
Hovering. Michael Irvin over under 4.5 minutes total screen time.
This man's just coked out every weekend at Miami games. Just absolutely.
Over under 1.5 times he ends up on the ground.
They openly let this man do lines before games and then hang out and talk to college kids. He's
the hype man, Mike.
He's the white girl man. I don't say that much.
Can we say this on TV?
I'm just saying. I'm saying it on the radio. Texas, I'm assuming the agent coming in and DQing a player due to injury is representing a guy who could possibly go down as the most disappointing player in Louisville history. Maybe. Texas, Chucky's Fro guy here. What's up? Oh, you just all you do is want me to call you Chucky Fro. Okay, you're Chucky's Fro guy. Done. Tonight, Roman, MLB playoffs. We got game 2 between the Dodgers and the Brewers. Who you got?
Give me the Dodgers here, Mike. Big X, big bet, though. We're going to take the under 7.5.
I took the Brewers last night. I think I'm going with the Dodgers tonight. I think Yamamoto outduels Freddie Peralta. And then we got college football right here on 1450 The Big X. Western Kentucky at home taking on Florida International. Tops are a 9.5-point favorite, down from when we said it earlier. Who wins, who covers?
Give me the Tops here. They're not going to cover, though.
Tops win, Tops cover. Also, Arkansas State, money line on the road over South Alabama. Get it done. Keep it right here. Ticket punches are up next. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 2:30. Go Cards.
Go Cards.
And refrigeration needs. Call United Mechanical at 502-339-1133. Go Cards.
Hey there, New Albany. This is Mayor Jeff Gahan. It's another year